Yeah, well, they added the dormers in the front, and,
Yeah, you're right.
you know,
Looks like it, but I,
stay the same roof.
He didn't get any improvements, so I'm wondering if you're making an amendment or what? I didn't have any information on the puppy.
we'll find out. We'll find
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
Okay.
My wife's been killing me with honeydews. Man, she's killing me. I gotta get out on the farm more.
Not yet.
She wakes up with 10 things to do before she even gets her breakfast. All right.
Ryan, there's Michael up there,
Oh, Michael's up there.
Yeah.
The two of us. Where's the-
but where's Brian?
oh, he'll be there.
Okay.
I think they're slow. I have 6 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
It is 5:57.
Yep.
I asked
So they are slow.
Yes.
renovation project if we
Barbara, you're looking good. You're doing good, huh?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah,
Just on your walk, I
this
walk
balcony
on
and
it.
the inside.
If you give a stink out, you know we need to move on. Get going. I know you gotta go.
Right, right.
Voices and musicians.
Okay, well, I don't know if I got these out of order or not, but we'll find out.
Poor Jill got hacked. Yeah, her Facebook got hacked. So she was not happy when I left the
Oh, I
house.
don't blame them.
She changed her password. She was
Yeah.
It's a pain, big pain. So these are the things I'll just grab from this one. So the first item is that demolition.
Right.
Okay, George, you're gonna have to keep that.
Okay.
There's a lot
There's a
of,
lot of
a
stuff.
lot of moving parts here.
Right. Full house. Okay. So, where's my agenda here? That's from February. Okay. So yeah, we'll call the public hearing first. So I don't, yeah. Is there an agenda for that? Not that.
Yes, it was on this page. This one.
There it is. Yeah. No? No.
It's with the whole package. You see, I didn't have it from last, because I wasn't here last month.
Right.
She sent me the whole packet, but you should have had a.
Here it is. Here it is.
The whole packet?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But looking for the agenda for this one.
Right.
Okay. And there's Brian. Oh, jeez. Turn that on.
Janelle, do you have a helper?
Yes, Julian is the city's AV intern, so he helps with us doing AV, so I don't have to do double duty.
Yes, that's great. That's great. I wondered how you were going to handle that.
Long Ridge. He's fulfilling community service requirements, right?
No, he's getting paid.
Good man.
In year 6 or not yet?
I think you've got like 30 seconds. None of my phones are at,
6 o'clock.
you are now at 6 o'clock. Give him just a,
Recording in progress.
make sure you've got everything live streaming. You are good to go.
Okay, all right. All right, welcome, everyone. This is the Thursday, March 3rd, 6 o'clock meeting of H Park. The first item on the agenda is a public hearing. Public hearing and possible action on a request from John Lester on behalf of Charles Fletcher for the demolition of an existing garage contributing structure to allow for the construction of a new accessory structure. The property is located at 324 Savannah Road, Sussex County Tax Map 335-8, 20.153-00R-4H, contributing. H3-22. Oops. Okay. John, would you, or,
Barbara, I'm going to have to recuse myself.
okay, all right, Michael,
Thank you.
thank you. John, would you and whoever might want to join you come make the presentation?
General Fletcher couldn't be here tonight.
He
Okay.
is on Zoom, though.
I'm sorry.
General Fletcher is on Zoom and
is on.
is able to participate that way.
Oh, but we don't see him, right?
Yep, he should be able to talk in just a minute.
Okay.
I
Okay,
can talk, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
okay, we can hear you, thank you.
You've probably seen the building in question here. There seems to be a concern about the age of it. We have letters that state that it is not as contributing
Oh,
from early occupants of the building, that it's been changed considerably or replaced. General Fletcher can tell you more about that.
okay.
But I would ask this board to be aware that every old structure doesn't mean it's worth keeping or notable. And this one is kind of a tumble-down derelict there, hidden by the house. You can't see it any place from the path behind it. And if he could come in, he's already passed Board of Adjustment for permission to build a two-story building there. And that would correct another part of the code of Lewis, which is furnishing 2 parking places for each structure. If the building is moved about 8 or 10 feet, it would allow for parking off the street. So I'd ask for every consideration to give this American hero a chance
Okay.
to put up a new structure.
Okay, well, this, right now, this is a public hearing. This gives an opportunity for the applicant, John, in this case it was John, to state the request, and then we ask if there's anyone from the public that wish to speak in support of this demolition request.
I'm going to guess Mr. Fletcher is going to want to speak to that.
Okay.
Mr. Fletcher, can you hear us?
I can hear you just fine. If this is my opportunity, I'd certainly welcome it.
This
Yes.
is your opportunity.
At last month's hearing, Randy Burton mentioned that he had found reference to buildings in the 1930s, 1940s, but could not confirm the current garage. Through my neighbors who knew a woman who inherited the house from her aunt and uncle who bought the house in 1930, we went back to her, and Dee Dee's letter is part of the information that you have, to include a picture, a painting of the house that was done in 1953. I spoke with Dee Dee, and she talked to me, and in her letter she talks about her uncle and aunt, and she spent her childhood in summers in that house, and then she inherited it from them, and she sold it to the people from whom my wife and I purchased it, Mr. Wheatley. She provided a painting of it in 1953, and she confirmed that that painting was accurate, and again, that's part of your record. If you look at that picture, you'll see that it is significantly different than the pictures of the garage that sits behind 324 Savannah Road today. And she, in her letter, she said that it is significantly different. She said that her uncle, she remembers her uncle saying that he built the garage to house his cars. And again, he bought it in 1930, which would indicate, if that's true, if he didn't just modify or otherwise use the facility that that's there that he might have done something to that facility. But what I found most recently is the 2004 survey that was done of 324 Savannah Road, and that's part of your record. And I sent you a copy of this that's blown up sufficient that you can read the note on it, because at Tuesday's meeting, one of the members mentioned they could see the survey, but they couldn't really read what was on it. But if you look at the note on the survey, and it's dated 11/8/2004, it has a note referring to the garage, and it says the position of the new structure corrects the less than 8-foot east side setback of the existing garage. So that states that that is not the original structure, that that is a new structure. I then went back to the definition of contributing structures as contained within the guidance that you have provided, and looked at the test for that. And there's a test for both longevity, and the information that I presented would call into question the longevity, and the architectural style of the building. Does it reflect the architectural style of the surrounding time or the period? And when you look at the reference that is made to the 324 Savannah Road in 1900, and all of the architectural elements of that, even the garage in 1900 did not reflect any of that. And certainly the garage that's there today is a very utilitarian, simple structure that has none of the elements of architecture found in the house at 324 Savannah Road. So part of what we want to do is make the garage usable, because today it is not. Even with the setbacks, you can't get cars into it, and you can't park around it. And then as we build it, we want to build it really like our neighbors have done, and they are listening on the call this evening, to make it really tie it into the house. And their house was built at the same time that our house was, and their garage, built more recently, really reflects the architecture of the house. And I'll stop there for any questions or comments.
We don't have the,
Joe is going to look for it, because I think it went to him and not to me, so we're going to get you copies right now.
we're talking about the new survey.
The new survey is what was at your desk.
What's this one? This one.
No, I'm talking about the resurveying of the historic district.
Oh, so that's actually missing in the resurvey. It's the one property, and I did talk to Robin about that. It's the one property that is not in the, it's referenced in the listing, but all the information is missing.
For the house too?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because I went through it multiple times, and it's the only one there. And Robin did state there was one missing, and it happens to be 324 Savannah Road. Okay. Yeah, we did get that. So when we get to you, yep.
Barbara, I have a question for Mr. Fletcher.
Okay. Go ahead, Joe.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Okay. If and when you rebuild the new garage, will it be in line with your existing neighbor's garage? Will it be a building line that you're following? Or is it just to basically set a position so you can get two cars in the driveway?
No, it will be, it will not only be aligned with theirs, but architectural, it will be much closer to theirs than the simple building. The new foundation will center the garage on the lot so that it is equidistant, and it will set it back from the alleyway so that there's sufficient room to park a vehicle in front of the garage without impending traffic on the alley, which is part of the problem now.
Very good, thank you.
So, Again, right now, all you're considering is whether or not to allow for the demolition, and this is the public hearing for the demolition of the building.
Right. Correct. Thank you.
Shouldn't be questions relative to any.
To any of the architecture or of a placement, correct.
Okay.
Yep, so you gotta figure out if you're gonna, if.
Yeah, got it.
Yep.
Okay. Does anyone else want to speak in support of the demolition request for this property, for the garage?
And I think if you're on Zoom, you can raise your hand or put your info in the Q&A.
Is there anyone that wishes to speak against the demolition request? Okay. Okay, last chance. All right. I'm then going to close this demolition request public hearing. Correct, Janelle?
Yes. Well,
We have to make a decision.
you need to make a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to make a
Then we
decision.
move to the next hearing for the property. The decision gets made in this hearing.
So this
May I
is
be-
a public hearing
may
and
I be
possible
heard?
action on the request for the demolition of the building.
In the past, we always just closed the public hearing, and then we took it up.
I'm looking to Brian.
And then took it up.
Madam Chair is correct, that in the
Okay.
past, you guys have collected the evidence and then made the decision on the demolition in the public hearing, or excuse me,
In the agenda.
Traditional meeting, correct.
Okay. All right. So if there is any other additional comments from the public, either for or against this demolition request, I'm going to close this meeting. And we will now open the regular H-Part meeting. And the first thing I'm going to do is welcome back Phil, who's now back as a commissioner. And then the second thing we're going to do is the minutes, which are from last month's meeting.
Madam Chair, I have a correction.
Yes, probably the same one I do. Go ahead.
All right. It states in here that at the beginning that the absence of the chairwoman Warnell, Secretary Thomas, and I am vice chair. So,
Correct. All right.
We will make Jackie to make that change.
thank you.
Okay, does anyone else have any corrections of the minutes from the last?
That was it.
That was it. Okay, corrections for
No.
the minutes?
Passing it on.
Okay. All right. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So get back to this, got too many papers here. All right, so so then we are to the first application, which is presentation, possible action on H322, a request from John Lester on behalf of Charles Fletcher for the demolition of the existing garage, contributing structure, to allow for the construction of a new accessory structure. The property is located at 324 Savannah Road, Sussex County Tax Map 335-8.07-53.00 R-4H contributing. Okay. So the first thing the commissioners need to do is to discuss the request and have a possible vote. One thought that I had was that without that updated survey, it puts us a bit at a disadvantage of not having enough information, which I'm not comfortable with. I don't know how the rest of you feel about it. I think in our guidelines, I think if we feel for some reason that we are missing significant information, we can defer the decision until a later time. I'm pretty sure that survey was done, and unfortunately, I assume Chad was never contacted when it became apparent. I didn't know it was missing. So I don't know, Brian, is that,
Madam Chair, 19758I is in the H-Part code, it discusses demolitions and removals. Importantly, I would refer you to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines down. It states, quote, "In addition, H Park may delay its final decision for up to an additional 60 days over and above the usual 2-meeting requirement for a decision in order to obtain an independent opinion from a licensed professional engineer regarding the structural integrity of the property." It does not say anything about the Sanborn maps or not having an updated survey. That said, that the question that I have, I suppose, in order to give you proper guidance is the maps that we have, this property is missing. Am I correct on that, Janelle?
Yes, for the resurvey
No, this is not the Sanborn maps. This is the resurvey that was done
by the university.
by Chad. And
And this
so,
one was missing from it.
there's
Yes.
one, yeah, just the garage. The house is there or not? Not
No.
the- Neither one.
Neither one. It's referenced, but there's no documentation for the property.
Okay.
So let me ask that question. So it's referenced, but there's no documentation for the property.
Correct. It's in the listing as being one of the properties as part of the resurvey. However, in the text of the document, there is no text nor photos of either the house nor the garage.
Madam Chair.
Again, that's how it was submitted to the city. We do not have that information. I don't know if they have that information, but that information is not available.
That would appear to me to be some pretty vital information for you guys to make an informed and proper decision.
I agree.
Was that information requested by the applicant?
No, why would they?
No.
No, that's information that we always have in our packet, the surveys.
No, I understand, but, I mean, it's public information that, I mean, when, you can request that information.
This was the resurvey that was done by Chad, the University of Delaware. We've had all these phases of resurveys. And so the one for that area of the town, this street, this building and garage were just not there. It's referenced as being included, but the documentation is not there, so we don't have it. Had I been aware of that, I would have called up, Kate Morrissey and gotten it resolved. Either had them come down and survey it or forward it to us. But since we don't have it, I happen to agree with Brian, it puts us at a bit of a disadvantage of making a decision without all the information we normally have.
Such as, is it contributing or not, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Is that information something that, I mean, once you call and ask them, and they can turn it over to us, or
Well, they will.
Maybe they didn't, maybe they
Well,
skipped that?
I think
My
they're
understanding is
obligated to
that
get
it may have gotten skipped, and there is no information regarding the property, is what was informed to me.
What happened?
So
Well-
right now, I don't have any. I can reach out tomorrow to see if they have it. But my understanding is it may have just accidentally gotten skipped.
Well, I think,
Well,
I'm kind
we
of
will-
surprised I wasn't aware of that.
that's
Yeah.
also an assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
It could
that's
be-
what was,
it could be
that
anything.
was
So,
the information provided to me.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because of the lack of information that we have, I don't feel that we can make a judgment on this application tonight. So I would make the motion that we defer this to the next meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. All right, I'm really sorry, John, and I'm very sorry for your client. But I think it may serve you better if we get that additional survey information. It will be an updated. Okay.
I'd just like to comment that I'd like to thank the applicant for doing what we asked him to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Because last month, when he was here, we asked him to go out and develop the research that was necessary to come here with well-educated information for this body to consider. We seem to have fallen short on providing him with all the information that he would have needed for us to make a decision. So I'd like to thank him for the due diligence that he put forth, because he's indicated, my reference in the meeting last night or last month was strictly to the Sanborn maps. It wasn't hearsay, conjecture, anything about what could have been, would have been, or should have been on the property. It was based upon these maps that we each have possession of. And he's correct that in 1904 on the Sanborn maps, it does not show a building on the back of that property. But it does show buildings beginning in the 1920s all the way to the last Sanborn map. So, I mean, he's done some due diligence, and I just, as a member of this commission, I want to thank him, and also, just as an independent member of the commission, apologize for us falling short of being able to provide him proper information.
And I'd just like to comment on that. It is not the commission who fell short. It is the city providing the commission with the information. So I don't want anyone to have the assumption that these people sitting up here fell short on their job.
All right, well, we do appreciate the applicant's efforts and hard work in responding to the request, evidently, that went forward last month. And we look forward to seeing you next month. Okay. All right. So we finished all that, right? We did our motion and voted. Okay. All right, so then we are coming up on C2, presentation and possible action regarding H5-22 on a request from Tony Beto on behalf of John and Michelle Schultz for the renovation of an existing garage. The property is located 372 Pilot Town Road, Sussex County Tax Map 335-4.19-72, R2H non-contributing. Now, this is, hello again.
Hi.
I think you need to state your name and your address
For the record, yes.
for the record.
Mine?
Oh, yes.
Tony Beto, 9 Glade.
Into the mic, please.
Oh, Tony Beto, 9 Glade Farm Drive, Rehoboth Beach.
All right, so we have a nice, clean application here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I just sent in another picture of the garage itself, because I realized when I was going through things today that it didn't look like there was a good picture of the,
There was no picture of the garage.
was there?
I went and took my own picture. There was no picture. But thank you very much for doing that. So would you like to tell us about
Sure. So, what we're doing here is obviously, not obviously, but they were permitted to do this addition on the garage a couple years back. And then they decided not to, so now it's the same plan and the same foundation, the same everything that we've discussed in the original accepted plans that we had from you guys. Now we just would like to get it moving forward. They just weren't ready at the time, and now they're here full-time, so more so now.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so I think they really want to move forward now with what the original plan to this was.
So we approve that, and then there's no changes at all?
No, nothing.
So,
Well, I think this is actually slightly different than, because I thought you didn't come before us last time.
No, we did.
No, but in
So I think
between.
that the problem is somebody else came before us. Tony.
Yeah, so they retained someone else to come and do a presentation in between, which is not exactly like this.
Gotcha. See, I didn't. Okay. And I kind of vaguely remember hearing that, but I know that what I had done was what you now have seen, which I was
Okay.
had
Yes.
come before you originally.
Yes,
And I think then they had gone on to somebody else. Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, about 5 months ago, we approved, it's in the record, we approved a renovation of the structure that you're making an application for tonight. It was all approved by this body.
I think it may have been longer than that, and besides, I think that there were differences in this application and the
So
last.
this application is for the same application that was reviewed and approved back in 2016. So this is a new application for what was originally reviewed and approved back in 2016. And those are the plans that have been submitted and are here for tonight for your consideration.
Right, and then these were the original plans, I guess the year was 2016.
At least that's what's noted on your plans, I
Okay, mean, as
believe.
far as,
It may have been later than that.
2021.
Understand,
Yes,
but this is a new
This is a
application.
different application from a different person. So it really doesn't matter.
This will supersede that application, because if that application has, if this will supersede this, because this will be the new approval. So that application, if they don't proceed with that as you previously approved, will expire, and this then supersedes that application.
Okay. So, thank you for the photo. And
Yes.
Okay, and I just had a couple quick questions.
Sure.
Unless somebody else wants to start with their questions? Okay, hearing none. I'll go forward. Okay, just want to confirm, because there's no dimensions on your drawing for the garage. I just want to confirm that it's the exact same size as the existing garage.
yes,
And you're taking out that person door and putting in a garage door to create 3 bays?
correct.
Okay. All right, that was, and the color of the metal roof?
As black? I think, did I put that on my?
I couldn't find it.
No,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
okay.
So, yes, and then, of course, then the siding is going to be exactly what we have on the house currently, which is the white cedar siding. And then the windows and all the other details that go with the house is what we will be using on this
Okay,
new house, new garage.
that's great.
Stairs, Mr. Beto, they're being added onto the side where they
Yes.
exist.
They're being
They're an addition.
Right. And again, when we had gone, originally, that was part of this, like what you see in front of you, those, the dates on that submission, that my drawings were the
Yeah.
exact same drawings that were submitted originally back in
Right.
2016 or whenever that was now. I guess it wasn't that long ago, but
Yeah. I agree with you, Andy. About a year,
Within the last 12 months.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
help me, please. Madam Chair, help me out here,
What?
because I was locked in. We did it like about a year ago, but that's beyond. We're not going to go there.
Nope.
But please, if you would, magnify the differences, because I really looked at the detail of the previous one less than a year ago, and I like that. So what's different?
He doesn't know because he never saw that.
Has nothing to do with it.
Because we had much greater detail of drawings and everything else of that work that we don't have here now.
Well, except that the note that's on the drawing is that all materials, colors, and everything will match the house.
correct.
Now-
And I think, and I have seen, I didn't see it very well, but okay, so I did the original renovation on the house.
Right.
Okay? And then maybe a year after that, we decided to like renovate the garage, okay? So I submitted the drawings that you have in front of you now for that. And then it went dead, all right? And then I just heard back from the Schultzes 4 or 5 months ago that they wanted to get back on track with this design that I had originally implemented back a few years back. And I had no idea that between then and now that there was a whole nother drawing by a whole nother architect that had come before me.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what that is.
Looks like, yeah.
And it's irrelevant at this point.
Yes,
We're
because
reviewing based upon the elevations that you have provided us tonight.
Right, that were originally approved
Yes.
back.
In
It
2016.
should be a slam dunk.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I've done a gear shift, we're good.
Because like I said, I had no idea the original other drawings had even been about until.
Okay.
So it is
So
basically
is
the same.
there anything that you're adding to the front? The 3, like the second floor, 3 little windows that
No,
are
it's
existing?
exactly just as.
Where's that
yeah.
picture?
Yeah, that's in his application. Yep, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right there. I mean, it's the same.
No, that's-
I used to draw a
there
little
it is.
better then.
No, they're not there. There's no windows across the roof.
No, but that's what we're adding.
Right, that's what I said.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, I
Yes,
guess maybe
yes.
I didn't word my question
Yeah, no,
correctly.
that's okay. Yeah.
Okay, so all that's new.
Okay, you're adding the
Correct.
dormers.
And then across the back, that's all new too.
Right,
I
and then
think it
again,
says
yeah,
that.
it kind of conforms with the renovation of the house that we had done a few years back.
All right.
Chair, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay, well, let's, everybody, does anybody else have any questions?
No, I don't.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Give it back.
Go ahead.
Okay. Because the application concerns a property that is not contributing, I move that this application be approved as submitted for 327 Pilottown Road. As drawn, I believe that this application for this house matches the previously approved architectural drawings for the house and matches the house as it sits on the lot that was approved by this body previously. And I believe that it conforms to our requirements of maintaining rhythm and scale within the historic district. So for those reasons, I suggest and recommend approval.
Okay, you have a
I'll
second?
second that.
Okay, now we're going to go around and everyone will give their vote and why, preferably from the ordinance. And, okay, you want to start, Joe?
I can't quote the ordinance, but I'll vote affirmative. Yes, I agree that it should be approved.
Bill?
Also, I reviewed it carefully this afternoon, and I agree it should be approved.
Okay, Randy? I should have started with you. You made the motion. Sorry. Go ahead. Okay.
For all of the reasons as stated in my recommendation for approval, I vote in the affirmative to approve this application.
Bill?
I think, given the past and what was done in the past was very tasteful, and what you're doing now is just an enhancement of what you did in the past. And I think those dormers in the front are great, and you're taking the detail of matching it to the existing house. I think it's a great addition to our community, and therefore I would approve it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bill? I mean, George?
Oh, I think it conforms to the rhythm and scale of the street, and so I approve the plans as submitted.
Okay, I also approve, think it'll be a great addition. It'll finish off the whole complex, and it'll be positive for the streetscape as well.
Thank you.
And you've matched
Barbara?
all the existing materials.
Thank you.
And Michael, sorry.
Yeah, no, I concur as well. Because this is a non-contributing structure in the historic district, it shows general compatibility of the exterior design arrangement and texture, and the materials used contribute to the established character of the historic district. I move to approve as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Can I just ask for one more point of clarity on our document that you sent out today, which is the survey? It lists this house as contributing, and we discussed this
No.
when we,
this house?
yes.
The
The house,
Schultz's?
not the garage.
The Schultz's house?
Yes.
Oh, the original portion is a contributing structure, but the addition. and
Is
it's-
not.
The addition is not, and it's questionable whether it would still be considered contributing.
Right?
But the garage actually is, there's documentation about the garage. The garage, go ahead,
Yeah,
Michael.
Barbara, in the most recent survey, phase number 2, it specifically states that a new one-story side gable, 3-bay, 2-car garage replaced an earlier circa 1900 garage, and then proceeds to say that it's clad in this type of siding and the metal roof and what have you. So this survey clearly indicates it's no longer contributing.
Yeah, that's for the garage. But the core of the house was a contributing house. And the question is whether the current structure is contributing because of all the changes. Okay. Well, I think you're good to go.
Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank you
and
very
thank
much.
you for
Thank you.
coming by and presenting.
Thank you.
Thanks for your patience with me.
No problem.
Okay. Okay. Next, we have the presentation, possible action regarding H6-22 on a request by Lewis Oyster House for renovations to the facade, replacement of window panels, new paint around windows, new lights, and repaint the fascia and cornice. The property is located 108 2nd Street, Sussex County Tax Map 335-8.08-4. This structure actually, this project came before as a chair and staff, and we did approve the paint colors. The only thing that there was a question about were the light fixtures that were proposed. There were several on the outside. I think there's one at the end, one hanging fixture by the door, and then two, one on either side of the side door. And that was, there was both, Bill Landon and I both had questions about the appropriateness of those for this historic contributing building. And we did, everybody did get so it was built in 1925, and, which makes it a contributing structure, although not by our date, right? No. And then the description is 108 2nd Street is a two-story, five-bay commercial building constructed circa 1925. The building is framed in steel and wood, and the exterior is clad in five-course Flemish stretcher bond walls. The building also features a flat build-up roof and an ornate Italianate, I don't even know how to say that, entablature on the front facade. So it does, it does have a lot of history, it does have a lot of character to it. So we were just concerned about the proposed, what looked like contemporary globe lights. Yes.
Right. Well, my name's Brennan Bickle. I'm an architect with Element Design Group. Do I need to give the address? Okay, I wasn't sure.
Oh, yes.
It's okay. Element Design Group, we can find it.
Okay. No, we chose the light fixtures. As you said, it's like 1925, so we wanted something, kind of hearkening back to that era. It might have been a little unclear as to the finish, but the plan, the way it's a real brass fixture, so it should patina and then complement the brick, and that was the intention. We also, seeing across the street, a lot of globes, it seemed like it would fit into the streetscape. And even seeing the Lewis post office, which was built in like 1913, that has similar globe structures, and it seems to be of the same time period of, this building. So it seemed to kind of make sense to have this style, or it would fit in with the building. That was our main concern.
Did we get a cut sheet of the light fixtures with this packet?
I forwarded some to Joe.
There's a little bit here.
Oh, it's just, okay, yeah, they just show, okay, you got it.
We can forward them again. I know
No,
I
no, no, no,
forwarded
no,
some.
no, it's here. It's
Okay.
on the drawing.
Yeah,
I know it was emailed to me, and I
Okay.
couldn't remember where it was in the packet. So it's on the elevations, you see.
and the pendant fixture, the globe, that is intended to go into the nook above the door, and that, the pendant will be much shorter, obviously, like it won't hang
Right.
down that far. And then the one with the, one with the shade, those are the ones that are meant to replace the sconces that are there currently.
Say what the size of the globes are?
The globes can range from, what's that? Yeah, I have it here too. The globe, the
You have,
fixture,
I assume you have it drawn on the elevation.
It says it's 10.5 inches by 11 inches. I'm printing out the larger spec sheet right now. It was emailed to everybody.
Oh, it was?
yeah, it might have been separate. But the globe, that can be, that's just above the door, that could be either 13 inches, 10 inches, or 7 inches. So we can, that varies, the one above the door. The one that is the sconce, that is 10.5 from the wall, and it's 11 inches tall, all of it. And that's on the spec sheet, the cut sheet also.
Okay, 11 inches, and that's from the
From the bottom
Arm.
of the globe
to the bottom of the globe?
to the top of the, where it hits the wall, like the plate where the wall
Oh, the
is.
plate. Oh, so it's an
Yeah,
OD.
so it's
Oh.
actually, like, the actual fixture is a little smaller than that.
Okay. And you said that's how much? 11?
11. I can show it to you if you want
Yeah.
to see it, but,
They'll be there in just a minute.
Now,
okay.
I assume it's drawn on the elevation in scale, 11 inches?
I don't know that that's
Oh.
to scale. That was more just showing where they would go. So I cannot say that those are exactly, they actually look a little bigger.
Okay,
I had a quick question.
sure.
Is the finish on here, is it a glossy or matte?
It'll be like, it'll be brass, but then it'll patina to like a darker bronze.
Right.
Like, so it will not be like
It doesn't have a
shiny for-
gloss.
No, it won't be shiny for, pretty quickly it'll patina into
All right.
like a darker bronze.
All right, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions about or comments, concerns?
Just when I looked at it, I thought it looked a little bit more towards contemporary rather than showing a colonial or a maritime theme. And that's why I thought we'd bring it before the commission and get all the commissioners to look at it and provide their comments.
Were you talking about the light fixture looking
Yes.
contemporary?
Yes, the
Yes,
light fixture,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
The globe.
Yeah, globe's a bit contemporary, in my opinion.
I've done work up at Cape Cod, and that kind of fixture is all over the place at Cape Cod, in an ocean setting.
Well, to this gentleman's point, though, all along Second Street and including the post office has globes. In fact, you look at the building directly across the street, which is Dina and Piccolino or whatever, globes. So it's not, it is following the streetscape.
Right. And Barbara?
Pardon?
Michael?
Oh, Michael.
Michael here.
Michael,
Yeah.
where are you?
Yeah, I'm
I can't-
here, yeah.
Okay,
No,
Michael, I'm sorry, I have to remember to call on you, just because I can't see you.
No.
Yes, yeah,
I was gonna say too, that I did some additional research, and I researched the Secretary of the Interior's preservation briefs. And I'm sure that these folks reviewed it as well. Preservation brief number 11 really goes into a lot of detail in terms of preserving and rehabilitating historic storefronts. And I think that, what was being proposed, that's been previously approved, looks great, and it is very much in compliance with what the Secretary of the Interior sort of advocates. There is no section specifically dealing with lights per se, but then I did an additional deep dive, and I did come across a couple of websites that showed globes as being a very, very familiar sort of lighting fixture being used for Victorian structures. And the actual metal portions that are shown here are wrought iron, but the globe treatment seems to be something that was used quite frequently through the Victorian and the Italianate era. So, and as was indicated as well, there are a number of these globes already within the existing streetscape, and I didn't have a problem with it. So,
okay, thank you, Michael.
yeah.
All right, anyone else want to comment before I ask for a motion?
Well, I have comments. It doesn't refer to lighting, though.
Well, I don't think it's the time, if you
Well,
want to comment.
everything else has been approved by chair and staff, so
Right.
it's
So,
already,
is
that's
it
a
about this
done.
project?
Yes, it is. Well, it's about the signage location. That's what I'm concerned about.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I'm just wondering why the signage is offset to the right and not over the entrance to the restaurant.
It's a shared entrance. that door actually feeds two different units within the building. So when you enter the building, you don't actually enter the restaurant, you enter the hallway. And then the entrance to the restaurant is actually on the right side, and then the other is onto the left. So it's not actually the entrance directly to the restaurant, it's the entrance into the building.
Right.
So the signage actually is more centered over the storefront.
Over the restaurant.
Than,
Okay.
if that makes sense, because it's actually really centered over the restaurant and that storefront within, because there's two storefronts within the building.
There again, if I may, I mean, the question is not inappropriate, but it's already been approved, so
Okay.
discussion of it
Oh,
is
sorry.
irrelevant.
Done deal.
But
Okay.
no, but I think that was a good question.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was a bad question, I'm just saying.
I do have one question for you, Janelle, is
Sure.
that we don't have, there's signage regulations in the code,
Okay.
but we don't have a signage other than being compatible with the building, design-wise.
Right, there are no
Yeah,
specific
Yeah, we don't have.
historic requirements regarding
No. just that-
signage.
Right, that it just be compatible with historically to the style and stuff.
Yes.
And so what you're proposing is, I assume, exactly what you've drawn.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Anyway, so.
Yeah,
does
I would like
anyone-
to make a motion that because this application concerns a property that's addressed as 108 Second Street in Lewis and is a contributing structure, it uses previously approved materials and conforms with the rhythm and scale requirements and is in the historic district, I move that this application be approved as submitted.
Okay, do I have a second? Who was that? Who's?
Randy?
Okay, all right. All right, I'm going to go around and I would like everybody to give their vote and with a explanation, hopefully from the ordinance. Michael, I'm going to start with you so I don't forget you.
Sure, because this application involves a contributing structure, is in the historic district, and demonstrates a sensitivity to the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation of historic properties, I move to approve as submitted.
Okay, thank you. Randy, do you want to go next?
Sure, because this application is complete, it is a structure that is within the historic district that is contributing and meets all of the requirements of section 197, I move that we approve.
Okay.
And the lighting, and thank you, Michael, for your input, I appreciate that, falls within the vintage of the building and of the buildings around it and across the street. I therefore approve.
Okay, George?
I just think your design is fabulous, and the colors are great, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Good.
And looking forward to the restaurant, too, so I vote to approve.
Ready.
And
They're anxious.
George has a personal reason. for
No, I do
wanting
not,
to-
no personal reasons, no.
No, he occupies the adjacent space.
Oysters for
You're
lunch.
going to be able to see now.
Well, I am not the tenant, and I am not an employee.
No, I didn't mean to imply, no, I didn't mean to imply there was anything personal
Right.
advantage there. Just that he is.
I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Anyway.
Fantastic.
Okay. And Phil?
Yeah, I approve also because I think the color scheme, along with the brick and everything, it just comes together just right. And the brass color the patina with the brass will turn a little darker, and so therefore I approve of the project.
Joe?
I also approve of the project for all the reasons previously stated. Looking forward to eating there, too.
Okay, all right. I too agree with the submission. I appreciate the additional explanations that I didn't perceive, when it was submitted as a chair and staff. And I'm sorry that we made you come here, but I think it was a good educational opportunity for
Good seeing you guys again.
Yeah, for everyone. Yes, and so I too approve it for the reasons that have been stated and that it is consistent with the building and the streetscape. So, thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
Okay. All right. Next.
Deja vu number 2.
Deja vu.
Yes, yes, okay.
Over again.
Mark, and with or without Christine?
I'm going to need to recuse myself on this one.
Okay. All right. Well, we're just going to set a hearing. We're not going to discuss this.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a contributing structure. And so we do have to set a public hearing for the demolition request. And I assume that you know that there was a demolition request on this property before?
I was told that, that's correct.
Okay. And it was approved?
That was my understanding.
And so that you know, it's public knowledge, so it's okay for me to share, you know, the information. But you might want to get up with Brenda Jones. She was the one that made the application.
We've talked with Brenda.
Oh, have you? Okay, well, then you probably have all the reasons.
Yes. We had, and just for the record, when we settled on the house in April.
Your name, please, for the record?
Oh, yes.
I'm
thank you.
sorry.
We kind of got into it. My name is
Yeah.
Mark Chura at 10 Duchess Court in Lewis. We did get that information when we actually first started exploring opportunities to rehab the structure. I was aware of that, but our hope was maybe we could do something with it. And that really came up when we started looking at the exterior and wanting to pull the vinyl off to see what was underneath, understanding we had to get a permit for that, and then we talked about the history of it in more detail. We knew about that slightly when we settled on the property. Once we got into late fall of last year, our structural engineer, we kind of kept peeling it back a little bit, and it was even worse than what we had anticipated. So here we are.
Okay,
So it's reservations that we're asking for this, but we didn't really have a choice.
right. All right, so we're just going to set a date for the
Yes.
public hearing, and that would be next month.
So if you'd like to do it right before at 6 o'clock, right
Yes.
before your meeting, it would be Thursday, April 7th at 6 PM. Because that is your next regular scheduled
Right.
meeting.
Yes. So,
Before we move on to that final part there, I guess I'm just confused by, if the demolition permit was issued within the last 12 months, but for a different property owner, is that the regulation?
no, it expired.
So
It had expired. It was,
It-
yeah.
it was more than 12 months ago.
It was July 17th, 2020.
So the application expired well over a year ago, so unfortunately, they're coming back. And
2020 is a fog anyway.
Yeah, that's why don't you remember?
21 was for us in some ways, too.
Yes, yeah, this was the
yeah,
20
we
leading up.
researched it and it expired, so unfortunately, they have to go back through the public hearing process.
But if I could get some clarification, did it ever go to public hearing?
Yes,
Yes. Yeah, no, the
Yes.
demolition, as the
That was not clear to
chairwoman
me.
stated, was approved. And it was approved, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, the
Okay.
approval has expired.
now this is public information, so
Right.
I'm just going to read to you, because I think it's important that you know this. So the demo was the rear unit, it's called facing Rhodoline. And it was let's see, currently, there's no firewall exists between the units. The rear unit is on the ground, no foundation, and it was rebuilt after the 2004 fire.
Yes.
So you got that? I
Yes.
mean, you had that before.
We saw a lot of evidence of that fire as we.
Okay, okay. So, anyway, okay, well, we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Oh, is there a motion to set that public hearing, please?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. All right. Okay, next is, okay, this is 406 Kings Highway. The request is for a deck and outdoor shower.
Yes, good evening, Robert Colburn, RLC Construction.
Hi there.
Yes, I was here
And
to,
I think the owners are also zooming
they are
in?
also here.
She is
Alex and
online
Caitlin.
via Zoom, so she's able to answer any questions you may have as well.
Right, and we got
Did you get the new,
We did.
she said?
We did,
Okay.
yes.
I made copies for everyone in case you didn't.
Yeah, I think everybody's got them. This is the new, it was emailed,
Your copy, just to.
Got a copy.
it was emailed to
I'm
us.
looking at it on my computer.
Did everybody print it out? It was emailed to you, or do you
I
need
didn't.
copies?
Thank you. You got it?
You need a copy? Oh, no. I think Phil needs it. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, good, okay, good. You have yours back, okay, great, thank you.
Did you have one, Barbara?
I have one. Yeah, I printed it out. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, I didn't know whether you or the owner wants to give us a little explanation as to the scope of this project?
Caitlin, is she available?
Kate,
Where?
are you here?
She's the owner. No,
Yeah.
I'm representing for the builder and doing the project.
Caitlin, did you want to speak to us about your project?
Sure. We, thank you everyone for your time. We wanted to, I'm not sure why my camera's not working, but we wanted to build a deck, a small deck off of the back, and a shower, add an outdoor shower and add a door out the back. The issue with the door out the back is that it really needs to be a slider because the roof for the, that addition, which was, I'm not sure what year it was added, but later than the original house of 1938, the roof will not allow a door to open out, and yeah.
It's very low.
So anyway, so that's what we're looking to do, the deck and the outdoor shower. And I think that we gave you the specs for the door and other materials. Do you have any questions?
Not yet, but stay around.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay, I had a color question on the metal roof of the shower. I couldn't find if it was noted.
That was based, I said red, it's open to any color you want. Black might be more specific.
Well, red's pretty bold. It's going to bring a lot of attention to an outdoor shower, which is kind of
That's what I'm thinking, that was my judgment. The black would be
and
fine.
black would get hot, so I don't know if you want that, but
That's right, it's a shower.
yeah, maybe
It'd be really hot.
it would really hot in the winter. And besides, it doesn't,
It's a half roof on the shower, so it has, we're only putting that on for privacy because you're going to be on the deck and the shower's right next to it. So I was putting a half roof for the privacy purpose. So,
well, you got a gray roof on the house, don't you? It looks gray.
yes.
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 Can you explain again why you're doing a sliding door and not hinge doors in the historic district? Sliding doors weren't invented during,
Right. The reason for the addition on the back was a small porch they enclosed. That is kind of that's the eating area to the kitchen, very small kitchen, obviously from 1938. Not much space in there. If we opened it out, the soffit's so low, it would hit the soffit. So the slider was the most practical way to keep the space in the kitchen and have access to the deck.
but isn't there open space in front of the two-panel door? Glass, there are two panels of glass, right?
Correct.
So there are no cabinets in front of that if it's in the kitchen.
Where there's a kitchen area, then a small, Caitlin? do you have-
You need,
Yeah, sorry-
I need to
sorry, it's in-
understand why
it's in an-
it's
it's
a
in an
sliding
eat-in
glass door
area.
in the
She's
historic
trying-
district that is in view.
She's trying to answer you.
What?
Caitlin's trying to answer
Oh,
you.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Caitlin.
Sorry, it's a very small eat-in area. So it's not the actual kitchen there. It's an eat-in area and a half bath. So if you had the doors open in, it might obstruct access to the half bath, or on the other side to, I guess, the table.
Eliminate the use of the table.
Would a single swing door going in with a window next to it also work?
It's a very tight space.
Well, you must have enough room in front of the one panel of the slider. to move in and out. So if that was the-
I'm making the assumption that this is a spatial problem from the interior.
Yes,
So
it
a
is.
swinging door would severely limit the use of space in there. If I could just ask, I don't see anything here whether this house is listed as contributing
It
or
is.
not.
You have this, didn't you have this with your packet?
Maybe.
Okay.
It was this
Maybe.
separate email.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
so this,
contributing.
there were,
So-
there were two, it was the old survey,
Yeah.
and then also the newer survey. And so it is contributing 1925.
Just for future reference, that's usually noted on our
Yeah.
agenda.
Again, we have,
Yeah, I
doing our best to
understand.
get the agenda out. It was a big
long,
agenda,
yeah.
and we were trying to get
I
everything
appreciate
together
that.
today for that one, so
That's my go-to place, so,
understood.
okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought there's one interesting thing, because there was some changes made to the original, and to the original, all the windows have been replaced since the original. And the windows were 6/1. And that was what was it, the 92, 86? I'm not sure. Anyway, so now, of course, obviously, you can see it's a 1/1.
Well, clearly, the addition on the back is non-contributing. I mean, that was not part of that.
You mean the shed,
warehouse.
the shed?
Yeah.
Yes.
What the deck is being attached to. I'm just saying, if you look at the photograph, I mean, it's a classic it is a classic four-square house. Sorry, Janelle.
Is it possible to use a sliding door that replicates a French doors?
Yes.
Yeah. So, because that's not what I'm looking at here. It's just, I'm looking at a picture of a regular sliding door, so.
Okay.
If it was in the style of French doors.
Yeah, totally open to that, if you
But
want the panel.
then they're saying that the door, there isn't space for
Well,
the
what-
door to swing in.
No, it
And they
would be-
can't, and they
yeah.
can't swing it out because of
Right.
the
Right.
angle of the roof.
It would be a sliding door. It would just
Oh.
look like a French
Oh.
doors.
Would have all the grids inside.
Yeah,
Exactly.
grids and.
Totally
But
open
you
to
don't have
that.
any grids in any of the windows.
Yeah.
No,
Where's
it's not
the-
about the grids, it's about the profile of the stile and rail.
Right.
A French door pattern really doesn't have anything to do with the glass mullions in it. It is the rail and the style of the door. This is just a patio door, which typically within the historic district would not be allowed anyhow.
Right.
I mean, this particular, whether it was a single or a double, it's just not in the vernacular of what gets approved. But I think that, to your point, if it were a French sliding glass door,
Okay.
so either, that could be by a multitude of different,
Like a 15 light.
doesn't even need to be 15 light, it
No.
could just be clear glass, but with 5.5, 6-inch stiles and rails. So the sides, right? So it's gonna all be wider. This is just like a composite, it's a permashield, so this is just a gliding patio door. It would be a French wood, which could be a composite as well, but it would be a French gliding door. So it's just gonna have taller rails, stiles and rails on it.
Okay.
And when it's closed, it would look like French doors.
Right, right.
And it's so visible from Coleman, and we're just trying to keep it preserved rather than modernize.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to work with you here to get this
I appreciate it.
right.
Yep.
Madam Chair, the other thing I questioned was the batten board.
That's inside the shower, I believe.
Oh,
Is it
that's
al-
inside.
Is it also outside the shower?
It is.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
trying to do something that was,
There.
have another,
I really think that needs to be in the same style as the rest of the
okay,
house.
rather do the
Yeah,
5-inch level siding.
siding.
That's fine. So I'm just trying to, I wanted to see what you guys wanted. There's no issue to what we're doing.
Okay.
I notice you say that the deck and all of the exposed wood construction is treated wood.
Correct.
Is it going to be stained or,
Painted?
and what color?
There was no color. We were leaving it natural. If it needs
but-
historical, if it needs a stain to match the historical area, that's not a problem. I'm saying I just wanted to come for your question's what you wanted.
Okay.
Well, it usually doesn't work that way. Usually, the applicant has an idea what they
It was gonna be natural to answer your
wanted.
question.
Yeah, because treated lumber unstained will get dark and not be an even color. It will, even though it's treated lumber, it's going to look awful. So that's why I'm asking, are you going to stain it, and then what, is it, what color?
Do you have,
Could they
I
also
can look in
paint
that
it?
area to see what would be
Well-
more appropriate. I mean, everything around there is pretty much painted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't,
Do you want to paint it?
Because I think he suggested natural, so it's going to look like the wood that's out there, so it's just going to be the natural wood color, is what he's suggesting.
Yes, I understand that.
I
I was-
have had the experience,
Yep, that it changes color.
it gets dark and it doesn't get evenly dark. It looks stained, like it hasn't been stained, but the weather it weathers dark and not an even dark. And so that's why I was asking, what color are you going to stain it, and what color?
Well, here, this would be my recommendation because they seem to be fairly open. So just like the French doors and just like the siding, rather than the batten board, that you actually make a suggestion, and then that is part of the motion to approve the application as modified.
Okay, but
So,
We would stain it a gray color.
Good.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
That's very good.
so we
And that
make
would-
that a requirement.
Would that also be the decking?
Yes.
The floor decking? Okay,
Yeah, I like that.
okay, very good.
Gray with a black roof on the shower, would that,
Well, no, I think,
We'd go with a gray roof on the
gray
shower.
all the
yeah,
way?
yeah.
Okay.
Just sort of, you're basically carrying out the colors and materials that or finishes that you already have on the house, which
Okay,
are
yep.
white and gray. Except for
Very
the
good.
pink shutters.
Okay.
Okay,
With the
so-
gray. Okay.
And so the siding material that you're going to use on the shower instead of the board and batten is going to be what
I was
material?
going to keep it pressure treated with the plywood, or we could get a natural and stain it with the gray close as we can. Would you like a wood, like a natural wood, and just stain it? So it all
Horizontal
looks.
lap. Yeah,
Yeah,
lap siding.
yeah, it would be a shiplap, like a 5-inch shiplap.
Well, I think
and
if you're going
stain
to,
it.
whatever you're going to stain the deck and everything, the gray
Correct, keep it
stain,
all.
just keep it all
Because
the
it's so
same.
close, you wanted to keep it
Right, and then you just
exactly
have the gray
same.
metal roof, and
Yep.
you're just repeating all the materials and the color, or similar
So it doesn't
materials and
stand out.
colors that, exactly. Okay, so French print in France.
And then Barbara?
Yes, yes, Michael?
I just wanted to ask as well regarding the posts for the railings and the handrails, will there be some sort of caps included on those, just to protect from moisture going in?
Yes. It will
Okay.
have caps. Do you want?
Yeah,
I was gonna
looking
put
at the
like a
new
colonial style
photograph,
Cap with a trim ring on it.
okay.
Okay, so,
And I just have one other,
yes, go
I
ahead.
don't know whether this is a suggestion, since it seems like things are headed in the direction of staining the shower and the deck and the handrails. And I'm sure the contractor is aware of this, but a heavy-bodied stain can go on very nicely, and you don't have the peeling, and it stays pretty constant, with the sun and what have you. So there's a lot of products out there that work very, very well for the actual decking floor, the floor deck, and for the railing. So just to throw that out there.
Sounds good, thank you.
Okay, all right. Is everybody getting all this material stuff?
Got it.
Okay. Stain, okay.
Could I ask a question?
Certainly.
For the sliding door, was there an objection that it's a composite material?
No, you can have a composite material, they're available. I mean, Marvin is the only Marvin and Pella both make a full composite material door. Most manufacturers don't in the French door because the inside is wood and the outside is a composite, either encapsulated. Marvin makes a French sliding glass door in full composite. It's their Elevate line, just as an FYI. But typically, all composite doors are the narrower profile like shown in the picture that your contractor submitted for you. And it's the wide profile that we're looking for. So it looks like a historically correct door.
So it's okay if it's a wood door with a composite exterior?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the important thing is the design of it, the profile. That's the critical part.
Okay.
Do you need to see that?
Pardon?
You'll need to submit it before you can get a building permit if this is approved.
Yes, it would be a good idea, in the motion, we'll try and capture everything we've talked about, but it would be a good follow-up. I think it's a needed follow-up to get your building permit so that we actually have specifics. The door selection, the stain color,
Do you want that to
the
be
metal
the-
And that
roof.
could come
Chair
back
and
as a
staff.
chair.
Yeah, we'll do it as a chair and staff, but it's, yeah. So you
Because
would-
you're already approving it,
It's the building code's gonna pick up.
we're just
on
gonna
that stuff.
verify that it's the right items. Brian, I'm just asking, does it need to go to chair and staff? Can it go to chair and staff if they've already approved it with the conditions? Because typically, my understanding is that once you approve something, staff makes sure that everything is in compliance with your approval, then it moves forward. I'm just looking to make sure.
It goes both ways.
Okay.
Okay, if it's approved and includes a chair and staff with the approval, because we don't know what anything looks like that we've talked about. And that's the part that usually myself or Bill, would then come in and approve the submissions from the applicant to make sure they are compliant with what we recall approving. Yeah, so we're going to spell it out in a motion, and then it's contingent on approval by chair and staff before the building permit. Okay.
Having never been through this process, how long does the chair and staff part take, or does it just depend?
Not as long as it's going to take you to put it all together.
It's a day or two.
Yeah. Yeah, usually it's 24, 48 hours. We try and do it that quickly, So, yeah, we'll work with you to try and keep it moving.
Yeah.
Bill and Barbara have nothing else to do, so they'll just jet right down to City Hall as soon as your application is in.
Actually, I'm going to be in the middle of Chesapeake Bay, so it's going to be 2 weeks for you.
No, I'll do it. I can do it, yeah.
If I bring my boat.
No, you're good.
Okay, showers. Okay. All right. Have we covered everything? Anybody else have any other questions? Yes,
I
go
do.
ahead.
This is not historic, but I'm wondering about the two propane tanks that are visible. Once the new deck is built, can the propane tanks be sort of hidden under there or get out of sight, perhaps?
I think they're going to be relocated, aren't they?
There was nothing about that.
Well, they're around the corner from the deck.
We couldn't
Right.
expand it.
I know, they have to be accessible to be reloaded, refilled, and replaced.
I think they're on the side of the house.
They're on the,
On the side and
Yeah.
not part of the application.
Yeah.
I know, that's just,
Sometimes you don't get to choose where the propane tanks go.
Yes.
Sometimes the company's gonna tell you where that propane's gonna go, tank's
Okay.
gonna go, so that might not be something that can be moved, unfortunately.
all right.
Yeah, it
Just-
depends on where it goes into the house.
Yep.
Yeah, and just to keep our building official happy, that new deck has to be detailed to death for heights, railing heights, spindle spacing, stairway heights and treads and all that stuff, so get your sharp pencil out for
Not
that.
a problem.
Also, is a railing required for that stair? How many treads? What's the height of the deck?
It's going to require.
Heights, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So is that going to be a wood railing to match the deck
Correct.
railing?
Yes.
It will all,
It'll all be stained the same color gray, and
railing?
it'll have
Okay.
caps at the end with a colonial style.
okay.
And one
Oh,
last
there it is, I'm sorry,
item
it's a picture.
that's
Yeah, go ahead.
totally optional here. If your clients really want to improve the house, get rid of that chain link fence. I mean, that rusty chain
Okay.
link fence.
Okay, that's,
Yeah.
that's
We're
not
working on it.
required.
I know.
It's
I
not
know.
required. No, I think they've already talked about that.
Okay.
You know, this,
That's our next submission.
yeah.
Very good.
They,
Okay.
Projects in the process.
Yes, okay.
yeah, this is they recently purchased the house,
Okay.
and they're doing upgrades as they can.
Right.
And I think the most important thing right now is there are no functioning bathrooms, so I think that's critical, not on our agenda,
Priorities.
but.
Very good, very good.
Yeah. I think they'll be doing a lot of stuff, I can tell.
That was Dr. Farron's house, and he was superintendent of schools years ago,
Really?
before Dr. Mercer.
Okay.
Yep.
It's good to have some history.
I didn't go there for spanking or anything, but yeah, I just knew that was his house, and I stayed away.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, has somebody taken enough notes that they can make a motion?
Yeah.
Do you want me to?
Michael? I think-
Michael,
Okay, go, Michael.
Okay, Michael.
Yeah, I can, yeah. I move to approve the application with the following revisions. The incorporation of a French-style gliding door with 5 or 6 inch railings. Also, 5-inch shiplap level siding for the outside of the shower, the roof of the shower, the deck, and the floor of the deck and railings will all be gray, and there'll be caps on the posts of the deck and posts for the handrails.
very good job.
Did you say that the metal roof on the shower would be gray?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Okay. And the gray stain? Okay,
Gray
everything's
stain,
gray.
right. Gray stain for all of the untreated surfaces, and a gray roof for the shower. Yep.
Got it. Okay, very good, Michael. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Oh, we have to go one by one. All right. Randy, do you want to start us off?
For all of the reasons stated in the motion to approve, I vote to approve.
Bill?
I appreciate your willingness to work with us on that, and us with you, in a way, so that we could at least preserve this 1930s property to its character that it presently presents. And it'll be a great addition to the community around there of old historic houses, so thank you.
Thank you.
George?
I also vote to approve. I think that the design is going to look very nice, especially with the suggestions that have been made as part of the plan. I look at your house from my front porch. I'm at the end of Jefferson, so looking straight out, I look directly at you. So I look forward to the changes. I like the changes you've already made. So, very good.
We need to meet.
Nice to meet you,
Nice to
neighbor.
meet you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Joe?
For all the reasons previously stated, I agree, and I will vote yes.
Thank you.
Hey, Phil?
And for all the reasons also stated, I will vote yes, and I especially think the approval of a 1930s house and by a 1930s person here.
Keep
Okay.
I vote to approve.
All right.
Thank you,
I also vote to approve with all the notes and conditions that we've outlined in the motion. I think you're tackling a very big project overall, but you're doing a great job on piecemealing it, and we look forward to, continued improvements and visits.
Absolutely.
Madam Chair, did Commissioner Wider go?
Yeah.
No,
He made the motion.
But he hasn't voted.
Yes, Michael, you need to vote and
Sure.
reference your motion, I guess.
Sure. Yeah,
Thank you.
no, I move
Thank
to
you, Brian.
approve. Sure. I move to approve with the conditions as stated. It's a contributing structure, and the fact that this related construction will be undertaken in a manner that, if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property and its environment will be unimpaired. And I would also like to say it's a sweet, sweet property, and excited to sort of see it take on a new life.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So everybody has voted unanimous, so you're good to go.
Very good. Thank you,
Okay.
guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for working with us. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
Okay.
I was sure I was going to mix up all these papers. There's so many. What do we have next? Oh, my goodness.
Just one more.
Oh, yes. All right, presentation, possible action regarding H9-22 on request by Oldwood at Forge LLC to amend an approval on an existing building contributing. That's not contributing. That's a mistake. The request is to allow 30 inches of brick to be located at the bottom of the facade and removal of the exterior grills in the windows. The property is located 114 West 3rd Street, Sussex County Tax Map 335-8.08-54 TCH. Okay, welcome.
Welcome.
Yes, for the record, would you state your name and address?
Marty Buneman, 501 Y Narrows Drive.
Okay, welcome, welcome. So, you came before us a while ago.
Via Zoom.
Via Zoom, okay, I forgot
that
about.
was
Oh, we were all Zoom. Oh, we were all Zoom. Oh, my goodness, how easy it is to forget.
That was in the very early stage of the project.
Okay,
We hadn't done any demolition, we just we're getting it started.
okay, okay. But we did approve a complete project.
Yes.
So now you want to make
In
some...
the process of developing the property, we're finding that to better enhance the property, we decided we wanted to make a few changes to the material side of the project.
Okay. All right, and I gather from the pictures and your presentation, one of those changes is
We wanted to, instead of the plastic AZAC, we wanted to put a brick to bring it more of a classic barn, bank barn look that we feel will give it a better enhancement to the property. And we want to go taller than 12 inches. There's a number of reasons why. One, we kept the original siding that was there. We utilized all of that on the original building, but in doing so, there was only so much of it available. And when we finally put it all together, we were able to only get a certain amount to where we had to bring the elevation up, to where we had to add something else, which is taller than 12 inches. So we felt that the brick would be a better solution.
How much taller?
35 inches.
3 feet?
3 feet.
Yeah, did you go by? Because you can see where they've cut
combined
all the
look.
siding out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I can't help but wonder, you know, I'm sure there's the back side of the building that you could have snitched some wood so that the
No,
whole
there was no
front,
back side of the building.
or,
It was a carport.
okay, or some other, it just seems that the visual, the front, is so critical.
Well, they're all wood company, so they've got all this stuff. And if you look at the side here, you can see where the board only goes so high because it's 2-story.
2.5 story.
2.5 story. So you can't go but so high on that. So you could replace the boards up to, if you look at it, I think, on one drawing there, I circled on that. You could easily pull those boards and put new boards in, and it would match right along with all the old. Yeah, you got old boards all over the place. I bought them from you.
I did the other half, with all due respect.
Okay.
I have lived this project. And originally, the siding went directly down to the ground.
Yeah.
In which all was rotted and mildewed.
Yeah, I saw that. It's bad.
Very bad. I've improved it. In doing so, the effect that we're getting is we feel that this is a better effect for us using brick as opposed to the AZAC. Whether we go, and the AZAC is only 12 inches, so we want to go taller with something. We felt that the brick was a better solution. It gave it more of a classic look. So I guess why I'm here is I thought we were already at 12 inches. We could use the brick 12 inches. I want to go taller than 12 inches.
Yeah, I just walked all around the community there, you know, and looked and see if I could see anything else that looked like that went up 39 inches or 35 inches or whatever. And I didn't see anything like that around there at all.
No.
I mean, if you were talking about going 12 inches on the brick, I don't have any problem like that, because it would look like it was a foundation as part of the barn.
Right.
No problem
Similar-
there at all.
similar
And I
to
was
barn.
trying to think, okay, what other materials would you use there? And I think you would just stick with the regular board that you have. I mean, come on, it's old board, but that's my opinion.
And you're
Yeah,
entitled to it.
I kind of feel the same way. I mean, you got a whole side here, and you're a wood company. Why wouldn't you want to show that off and just snitch out the boards here? I mean, it just,
That's an old picture. We're actually going to cut that one side. That side has not been cut yet. That side's
it
going
looks
to have.
pretty good.
No, that side is what is there now. We're cutting that for the AZAC, which is what was approved. We're cutting that to 12 inches to put AZAC there and flashing. I want to go taller than that.
Yeah, no.
And I don't want to run the brick because the cost of this brick it's far more expensive for us to use
I
the brick.
understand.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm improving the property even further than what was originally planned. I'm getting rid of a plastic and I'm going with a brick. I can run the siding, yeah, we can feather in the original. It won't match what's there. It won't match, it'll look patchy. What I want to do is and on that one side in the photograph, we're going to cut that. We want to cut it. Actually, that portion towards the back, we're going to put the AZAC there. You
Yeah.
won't see it.
No.
Okay.
Now, I'm looking at your drawing here.
Yeah.
You've cut that further. You've cut all the way from the corner, all the way
Yeah,
back to.
we only want to do the brick on a certain part of the building that you will see. The other portions, which is right there, we're just going to cut all that rotted wood away, and we're going to put the AZAC, which was originally approved.
Okay.
Originally, it was supposed to be AZAC all the way around.
12 inches.
That's what you asked for.
That's what was approved. What I want to do is, I want to continue the AZAC only where you don't see it. I want to put the brick where you do see it. I just want to go taller than 12 inches.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
I'm sorry.
I just need you at the mic if you're going to speak.
If you want to speak.
Yeah, come on, that's my wife. It's her building, her money.
I think what
Please, we need a name and address, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Mary Buneman.
Okay.
I think what he's trying to say is that if you look at the building, it's 2.5 stories. And if you only go 1 foot high, it doesn't fit the building as proportionally to a 2.5 story. I mean, if you imagine and you go there, and right now if you go there, you can kind of see where they have cut it up to it's about here. Proportionally, it suits the building. If you look at some of the historic old barns, they did have the 2.5, 3-story barns. They did have 2.5, 3.5 foundations.
30 inches or more.
Right, or
Sometimes they did that too, just because of what they were storing inside the barn.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We own the old brick barn down on Route 9.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and that has, it's
all
all,
brick.
but my concern is plastic looks cheap.
Yes.
So we wanted to go brick. But 1 foot looks cheap, and it doesn't look authentic in my mind. And so we went through old pictures.
She does a better job than I
We
do.
looked at barns,
Sit down.
and honestly, proportionally to the building, I think that needs to be considered.
Barbara?
Yes.
I was driving in and around Lancaster County this past Tuesday, driving around my wife, dodging horses and buggies and Amish kids on bicycles dressed in black, looking at barns beside other things. And the vast majority of them have brick up to like chest height, waist
Yes,
height.
they do.
Brick is unanimous there for
And so
old
do they-
barns in Lancaster County.
Do they have them just in the front and around the corner?
In the front, it's doors mostly.
No, but I mean, do
with
they
bricks, yes.
combine it with,
Brick.
with
Bricks foundation.
AZAC stripping?
They
Is
don't
it
know
the
what
whole-
AZAC is there, no.
Okay, do they do the same all the way around all four sides of the barn?
I could only see three sides of the drive. I wasn't
Okay.
looking at the back of them,
Okay.
but there's a lot of brick and it's
But
waist
is it,
height.
yeah, is it on everything you could see?
Yes,
It wasn't just one area
This is
and then
support.
stopped?
yes.
Okay.
It's up there.
So, where we're proposing to do it is everywhere that you are going to see. So when you're facing the building, looking kind of from the left side, there's going to be a deck. So we're going to take it from the beginning of the deck where there will come forward to the building, across the front of the building, and then down the side where all of the stairs are. Then the building cuts back and into the new addition, which you really don't see because that's where the parking is. And that is the only section that you will see. You don't even see it because it's the parking and it's stepped back 6 feet. And that's where you'll have the 12-inch band board. But beyond that, you won't see it because you have the neighbor, the deck, and the neighbor's fence that hides the entire side of the neighborly side of the building.
So that's the side street?
Chestnut.
No,
That
that's
would be-
the interior side of the property.
The interior.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
The neighbor's fence.
Okay.
We're gonna have a fence that covers that whole section up where, that you're looking. so that
That's
you-
the wrong side. That's the old.
Oh, that's the old
That's,
stair.
you're looking at the wrong, everybody's
okay.
seeing that. That's the ugly old side where the steps were.
That's where the
Yes, I'll
fence is
see.
on.
That's all gonna be new steps, and it will
And the
have the
electrics
brick, and it would
leading.
have the brick there, because that's what you're gonna see.
Yeah. I was thinking that was the other side. I don't know where that,
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend the brick at all. But I mean, if you're going to put it in, I wouldn't go higher than 12 inches.
Yeah, I guess I'm a bit surprised that being in the old wood business, that you wouldn't want to showcase your old wood.
the whole building is old wood, the whole side of
But
the
no,
building, the whole
but
addition.
I would think that you'd want to continue that and show how great old wood is and.
You know, I don't even think it's that how great Oldwood is. I think it's about making the building a nice combination of different products, updating it. Right now, it looks like an old barn.
It is an old barn.
It is an old barn.
It is an old barn. It's an old,
No, I know that,
30 years, yeah.
but it was built to look like an old barn when it was built.
Correct. But if you do go through Pennsylvania, there are plenty of beautiful old barns that have beautiful old stone foundations. And that was our intention as we started thinking, instead of going with just AZAC and 12 inches, that it would be an enhancement rather than just going with what was initially.
Have you considered
proposed.
doing stone?
We're not opposed to stone, but knowing that
No,
the
wait a minute,
outside.
I submitted stone. I-
didn't submit real stone, you submitted a.
Well,
It
it
was a-
could be real stone.
But mostly around here, we have brick foundations.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have, this natural stone that's here was more ballast and,
The other thing is going to come out beyond the wall of the wood.
yeah.
That wouldn't be good.
No, it's only two,
I know your brick.
3/4.
Your brick,
Yes.
but we were talking stone.
Oh,
Stone's
yes,
gonna
it
come out.
would.
Yeah.
The stone, they can
not
cut
a-
the stone to a veneer too. You could put stone as similar, the same as brick.
but,
Yeah.
But
other
we
than-
think the brick is better.
Which is typical.
well, the brick would match all, if you go along the whole side of Third Street,
Yeah, I do.
everybody has the brick walks.
Yeah.
So we kind of thought it was more contiguous. I mean, I love blue stone, I love other stone, don't get me wrong, but I just thought it kind of blended a little bit
It's
better.
more appropriate for Lewis, the brick.
All we're asking is to go taller than 12 inches. We're not looking to change, make the whole building brick. There's plenty of wood there. All we want to do is go taller than 12.
I think
And
it's
you-
going to stand out of character.
Yeah, and it's going to wrap around the corner so far back, correct? It's going to be Third Street
All the way back to where the parking begins.
and on the other side too? Does it wrap around that side as well? The opposite side? The neighbor's side?
The neighbor's side, it wraps back to where their fence is, where you'll no longer see, and under the deck. So it goes back, it's probably from me to the deck.
Okay.
And then there's the
Is that,
Yeah, there's an economic factor here too. This is far more expensive to do.
Right.
So we only have, I mean, I'd love to do the whole thing, but what we did was we used it where you're gonna see it.
So on the other side, Barbara, where you're questioning, there's the small wooden deck that goes up, and that's where the propane tanks have to go.
And
And
they're ugly.
they're not a real great.
Yeah.
So we took it up to that point. We're hoping at that point, the guy from the propane place said that we had to put a fence up. So we were, if that's the case, we'll put the 6-foot, 7-foot fence that'll match the neighbors, and you won't see any of the back. There's no seeing it.
we don't have a plan that shows exactly where all this is happening, do we? Not in the packet? It didn't come in the packet, right,
I
Janelle?
thought I gave you all that.
A plan that shows where...
I don't think there was a survey showing where it was going all around the three sides.
We can certainly provide that.
Well, I
But
mean,
it's going to go on 3rd Street, the side street, and then,
but how,
yeah, Chestnut Street. So those two sides, and then a little bit on the left side going down the neighboring property, which is the interior side of the property. It's not going on the back of the property. So it's actually just 2.5 sides of the property, which is Chestnut and 3rd, and a little bit on the interior.
okay, but if we had a plan, and how far back on each of the two sides does it go? Does it go 10 feet? Does it go 12 feet? Does
I
it
can
go
answer that.
8 feet?
The length and width of the building,
No.
that's how far it's going.
It's not going the whole length of the building.
It's going in the front, it's going from the existing building. We're
Yes,
doing the
facing the
existing
front,
building.
facing the
We're doing the front, and on the Chestnut side, we're going all the way to the addition.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
left side, we're only going to the propane tanks where there'll be a fence.
Right.
That's all you're gonna have in that brick.
So
There's no need in putting brick where you're not gonna see it.
Well, I understand that.
So beyond that point where the brick stops, what's there? Wood?
Exactly.
No, okay, so it juts in, the building juts in about 7-8 feet, and that's where we have a kennel, where the new addition is, and that's where people park. And that's the old barn siding. And then on the bottom is the AZAC, and that's underneath the parking,
So the AZAC is how far off?
12 inches.
12 inches, that's the new addition where my company made the wood to come close to the existing wood. And that's where we are right now, we finished all of the wood, there's plenty of wood. But when you run that wood all the way down with the new addition, and you have this white plastic band board running around, it looks terrible. I agree, I don't like it, but that's what was approved. What we want to do in the front is give it more of a classic, old brick building look, as opposed to our wood running down to plastic wood.
Do you want something besides plastic? I mean, that wasn't required by us. It came out of the
No,
presentation.
it came from Mark Redden, yes, that was the initial plan. And it wasn't until we got into it, realized how bad the rot was, realized, you get into, this building was not your typical build. We took, and it had dirt floors inside, it was rotting.
We've done a lot to bring this building up to where it is, and in doing so, just getting the outside to work to where you could actually put anything there required us to put plywood. We were working from the inside out to preserve that siding. We had to literally put, from the inside, we had to put plywood, we had to put Tyvek plywood and then frame, working from the inside to preserve the original
Yeah, it was a
siding.
lot of effort to preserve that exterior siding,
And in
which,
doing so, when you got down to the bottom, that's what we were able to get with what was original. That, what you see in that picture right there, that's the original siding. That's from the guy
and that's
that
only
built
one
the building.
story up, that's not 2.5. So if you're looking at that picture there on the screen, that's one story, as you see where that window is. The building is another 1.5 stories taller.
So if you ran across somebody taking down an old barn, could you use that siding? I mean, there are people in business selling old barn wood.
You could, but it's never going to match exactly, and it's going to look patched. We've been doing it for 20, 30
35
years.
years.
And we want nothing more than it to match and look like it was original.
Right.
And we're suggesting what we think we can make it look as seamless as possible. We can go down another 8 inches, but you're still patching. You're still gonna have to tongue in the board, or tooth in the boards. And it's gonna show up. It just will.
It won't look right. I've done it, and I've done it a lot, and it won't look right. So where we are right now is we're at a height that worked out with what we have. There's a little bit of material underneath the stairway that we built, but not enough to bring it down to 12 inches.
Right.
So even the 12 inches makes no sense to use the brick. I just want to bring it up taller.
If I may, I think we're talking in circles here, so I would like to go ahead and make a motion to approve, and then the commission can either vote it up or vote it down.
Okay,
Is that okay?
okay.
And this, just for clarification, this is non-contributing.
Correct.
Okay.
This is non-contributing, just make sure the motion is only about the one thing that's been discussed so far.
Right, the application.
No,
No.
there's a second request to get rid of the exterior Mullings on the second store windows.
Yeah.
Well, we do this all in entirety, so
Well, we
If you
haven't
want to
discussed
discuss
the windows
that,
yet.
well, we need to, I'm sorry, we need to go ahead and discuss the
Yeah, I
windows.
think you should do it in part.
Right, in part?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
This is just for the request for brick.
Brick.
At
Okay.
30 inches high.
That kind of complicates the motion, but I'll give it a shot. It's because this application concerns a property that is located at, give me a help here. 114 West 3rd Street, right, sorry. And does use previously approved materials, and is in the Lewis Historic District. I move that this is where it gets tricky, the part of the application to have a 35-inch brick.
It's actually 39.
Yeah, I think it's 39.
39.
It's where you see the ply
39,
there.
okay.
See the page?
or you can just say up to 39.
Up to
if
30,
that
yeah,
clears
up to
that up.
39 inches of brick around the foundation as stated, be approved.
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, I guess we'll go one by one on, we have a motion and a second, and first we're going to have discussion as to everybody's thoughts. Bill, you want to go first?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I recommend disapproval, and I recommend disapproval because it doesn't fit in with the buildings in and around it. It's also a barn that was all wood, and now we're bringing it up 39 inches high, which does not fit in the area, does not fit to the barn, in my opinion. And we should use wood. It's Oldwood Company to show off the wood. And so therefore, I would disapprove this. Now, if they went with 12 inches, I can live with that, but to 39, no.
Okay, Randy?
So I think that this building is very unique to its location. It is not residential in nature. It does not meet any of the adjacent property owners. And if you look just along that street and you go to the barber shop, it's a completely different looking structure. If you go to the old firehouse, it's a completely different old structure.
It's
If you
wood,
go,
isn't it?
if you go to the Artisans Gallery, it's a completely different old structure. There is a funkiness that has naturally evolved. And then if you go to Lib Lynch's old house, it's all cut face stone. The only house that is an original historic house on that street is when you get to the house that's at the corner of Market and 3rd Street. That has a 12-inch foundation and then has shingles or steps or whatever it is. And I struggle with this because I think that the building, and I think that the Bunemans make a very interesting point, that the higher brick on there, and Commissioner Hotchner even observed it in Lancaster, that the foundation of a barn, if that's what we want to call this, and, in our own documents, we have some conflicting information as to contributing, non-contributing, when it was built, when it was not built. But what we know is that that building was built by John Ellsworth
Around 85. I think.
around 1985 in an effort to try and make it look like a funky old forge. That's what he did. And I don't believe that adding brick at the bottom will take away from the rhythm and scale of the neighborhood. I don't think it'll take away from the rhythm and scale of the building. I think that the old brick landing that John built there purposefully, like there would have been 100 years ago when there was a blacksmith shop there, according to the census in 1897 on that property, there would have been an old brick walkway going up to the blacksmith shop because he didn't want to catch everything on fire around it. That's the way that they operated when you go and you look at them. For all of those reasons, I vote to approve. I think I don't think it is out of character with that building and the streetscape.
Okay. Joe?
Yeah, I will vote to approve. It's basically in that area, that street, there is a funky collection of buildings there. And you can't really say, you can't compare this barn to other barns in town because there isn't any. And what I've seen recently of barns in Lancaster County, brick is the way to go. You can't, when you're in Bedford County, you get more stonework out there. Okay, I'm from Pittsburgh, but the brickwork is common outside of Philadelphia. You get red brick in Lancaster County, you get stonework in central PA. But, yeah, and it is all like waist height, chest height, so I vote to approve.
Phil?
I'm having a difficult time voting.
Want me to come back to you?
But, no, but the back and forth and listening to everybody, I will vote to approve. And I was voting not to approve until I heard about the barns with foundations that were brick. I would have liked to know that the foundations of those barns were X a number of inches, but you didn't get out of your car to measure them. So I will vote to approve.
Thank you. Michael, did you want to vote?
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with the first panelist. When looking at our code and the neighborhood and the street, I just don't think that the exterior design arrangement and the use of brick to that height contributes to the historic character of the streetscape. Across the street, you're looking at the old jail and a number of the other buildings. Yeah, they're funky, but if brick is being represented, it's for a foundation, and those foundations are not 39 inches. I think I would also, if there was a consideration to approve up to a foot or so, perhaps, but I think as submitted, I can't recommend approval.
Okay. George?
This is difficult, but because the building is not contributing, built in 1985, and for all the other reasons stated, I would vote to approve the application, or this portion of the application as submitted.
I vote to deny. I agree with the things Michael said and Bill Landon. This has always been a wooden structure, and what we're charged to do is follow the building as much as being compatible with the streetscape and other things. So this building was always a wood building, and you're making it into now something else for probably the convenience of the fact that the wood became rotted and you didn't have enough to redo it. But it seems that you're in the wood business, and you know, if I wanted to redo a structure with old wood, you'd be able to come up with it. So I vote to deny, but the votes have it to approve. So I'm also very disappointed that in our application, we didn't get something that was drawn to tell us exactly what you were doing and where, instead of describing down to the stairs or around the corner so far, or things like that. There was no submission to actually lay it out. At least I didn't find it in my packet. Did somebody else find it in theirs? You know, and that's, you know, we're asked to make decisions about things with basically, you know, in this case, what I consider limited information. So, you know, anyway, so you are now able to do what you came here to do. Now we're going to talk about the windows.
Windows, yeah.
Yes. And now, the original application, you submitted a suggestion that, a consideration that you were going to try and use old wood to make windows, and that if you didn't do that, you were going to...
They were gonna make the doors, Barbara, the front doors.
No, the application says they...
And then it said that if we didn't choose to do that, we would go with the Anderson 400.
That's right.
With exterior grills.
We don't typically make
With the
windows.
exterior grills.
Right.
Well, that was your, no, I mean, that was your saying. We didn't require that. You know, made a suggestion of perhaps doing that, and then you know, you followed it with very acceptable with Anderson 400 series, with basically the true divided lights, which would be the exterior, interior grills. But I don't think that was what was installed, was it?
Well, there was a mishap between what Mark Redden had submitted and we had talked about. I did not know that he had suggested the exterior. And then in the construction and the ordering, the windows were, I thought they were interior grills because of the height and the difficulty. That's what they were brought in. They put them in. Then it was, we had this condition with the back of the building between the neighbor and the accessibility to the windows. And some of them weren't installed yet, and she was not allowing us access to the property line because it's so close. So then there was that difficulty, and
Didn't the building inspector, Robin Davis, also put you on notice that the wrong windows were installed and they would not be approved?
He did, yes, after, he did.
After they were installed.
Well, yes, but it's not his job to check the product before it gets installed.
We're not blaming Robin by any means.
Well, you can't.
No, we're not. We're just saying that mistakenly, there was a miss between what we thought Mark Redden had submitted and what happened in the interim. And then we came upon the problem of the accessibility. So we're suggesting that in order for us to even finish the siding and put the windows up, we had to, how do you call that?
Scaffold.
We had to scaffold into the side of the building because we're right, literally on the property line.
The neighbor is very vicious, and she's done nothing but try to hinder our project. And numerous times, we were told we had to have her permission that if we went on set ladder 1 inch on her property, she was going to call the police. So in correcting the issue with the corner of the building, which we did, we have not impeded on her property. But to maintain a 2.5-story window set, to clean them would take a roofer to clean the in between all the grills. So we think it's kind of it's dangerous, and it's not conducive to our business to have to send somebody up there to clean, and we're just trying to, we have a commercial building, we're trying to keep it maintained. So the other properties around the area, all the other buildings have the grills inside the
It
glass.
didn't really, yeah, it didn't even
And we didn't have.
occur to me that it was an issue, to be honest.
We had no idea that Mark Redden submitted.
Well, he submitted that because that's what we approve. If you want grills in your window, we approve the 400 series with the true divided lights, they're called. And so you had submitted paned windows. That was your submission, the design. And
That
so.
we missed. We admittedly tell you we missed that.
And so.
Between Mark Redden and ourselves.
Okay, but, so now, what is it you're proposing for all your windows?
That we keep the interior grills and go with the rhythm and scale of what we have around us, like the heirloom. I mean, there isn't a building, a newly constructed building on Third or Chestnut that isn't what we're proposing.
Okay, but your application stated what you were going to do with the windows. So now you want to do something different. We're talking about just your building. So you have, what do you currently have? You've got just inside grills in all your windows?
Yes.
Except for the front door.
The
front
doors,
door
the
has
doors
the-
do have the exterior.
The true,
The true exterior.
That's the
And
door.
what we built. We built the doors.
And the.
The request is just for the windows. The
Yes,
request is for the
request is
windows.
just for
I just
the
want to,
windows.
don't talk about the doors, focus on the
Correct.
windows, because
Just the windows.
different
The
issue.
doors do have them in.
well, they can talk about stuff in order to get to the.
Right, but
we're
I
not-
just don't
we're
wanna-
not- I only asked about the windows, and so they just,
I'm just-
answered that. Yeah. So then on the first floor, what are you
Well,
asking of us?
I would like to keep it the same, honestly, because
So
I
they're
don't.
they're pop-in interior grills?
No, they're within the glass at this point. They're in the glass.
Glass, grills, glass.
Oh. So you can't change that?
I wish
No,
you could. I mean,
if it were an easy, I
we
mean, I
wouldn't be
can.
here. We
You
wouldn't
know,
be
so
here.
I'm pretty sure, you're going to have to go back to the files and see what Robin said, but I was told by Robin that, what was specified, what was approved by the commission is not what was installed.
Correct. So it ended up they submitted via chair and staff. They said they could do grills on the exterior as well. That got approved. That has not been installed. They have then today have come back and asked to remove the exterior grills from the windows. And that is the request being made today.
When additional exterior grills was approved by chair and staff?
I believe so. And that was, again, that was through Robin, and that was a while ago, but I believe I saw an email that said something, because there was something that came through chair and staff, portion of it got approved, but the windows were denied because the exterior grills had to remain, the exterior grills had to remain, so the windows that got installed were denied. So again, they're here before you asking to remove the exterior grills because that was what was approved. The exterior grills were approved as part of the original application. They submitted via chair and staff to remove the grills. You said, chair and staff, it was denied. So now they are before the entire H Park to ask for the removal of the grills.
And you're asking for the removal of the grills so it's easier to clean the windows?
Well, for two reasons.
I think somewhere there's miscommunication here. So currently, the windows came in with grills in between the two sheets of glass.
Correct.
And then you added grills on the outside?
No.
No,
Yeah.
there are no grills on the outside,
No.
anywhere.
No.
Okay, so then the question is, what do we do with windows that didn't follow the approved submission, but have been installed?
That's what they're here to ask.
That's
They're
what
here
we're
to
here.
ask us
To
for
accept-
permission to not have them on there.
Well, they
Or
don't,
to just say, no, we're not gonna do that, and then they have to go and buy all new sashes. That's basically the question before us. It's a up or down question, because there was a miscommunication through them, their contractor, their architect, the plate spinner, the midget, everybody, right? And now, here we are,
between a rock and a hard place.
right. So I have I mean, there are still, so where the door was on the left of the building is now a window, or is it not? Aren't there 2 windows on the front of the building now, plus the 2 that are immediately on the side at the ground floor?
Does it look like this? Does it look
Start
like
to
your
me again.
submission?
The doors are
Does it look like
in
what was
the
submitted in the
walk-up
past?
stairway.
Oh, fortunate.
Went in at the drill.
Yes, it does, thank God.
Okay, all right, let me give you another one. All right,
Flash cards. The only
Flash
grills you
cards.
have are the doors to the outside. You go up the steps and the door there, that has grills to
So
the
that's
outside.
That's correct.
So what I'm asking is,
That's
this window no longer is on the front of the building,
No,
right? Because the
it's
doors
not.
are gonna cover
Right.
that,
Correct.
right? Or
That's
the
correct.
faux doors, because you have the glass
shut,
doors
the
on
big
the
old
back,
shut.
and then the big old shop doors to look like what John had there before when he was open for business.
You can see the door, the windows, Julian, if you can bring up the exhibits and go to the, page 9 of their, yes, you can see the windows in that exhibit.
Can you cursor through those different elevations just so that I can see? Because there's a window right there next to that guy, and there's one directly
One
over top
directly
of
above
it,
it.
right?
Right.
Correct,
And then the stairs are right to his right.
This way.
correct.
Can't see the
Correct.
door, and the door's up
Right,
there.
and the stairs
And
go
on the
up.
other side, adjacent to John's old house, there are 2 windows there or no windows
They're
there?
set back, like where, like, they're pretty far back
I think we got it here.
under the deck, past the deck, so you really don't see them. They're kind of where the fence and the neighbor are.
Yeah. You don't show them here, do you?
oh, what happened to the lights?
She's trying to make it so we can see
the screen
better.
Yeah. Okay, Michael, have you,
Actually, if, none of the windows placements have changed, so if you, like this here, Barbara.
yeah, here's the 4 elevations.
Oh,
Both
cool.
sides.
Can I see that?
Yeah, now,
This is
except there was a
This is
change.
where I'm saying they're set back. This is the front of the building.
Yep.
What
Okay,
was-
here's the deck, and the 2 are back here.
Yep.
This is where we're proposing that the brick go to.
Yep.
I'll show you in a second so that everybody
There you
can
are.
kind of see. And
Okay.
then here's the other side. This is the
There's windows there. So that's it right there.
chestnuts.
There were a
Then
couple
you have
window
this one and
changes in
So
the
it's
motion
these
to
two.
approve. There were a couple window changes. Do you know what they are?
Yeah,
This and this match.
right. But, and you were asking to remove the grills on the second level, but put the grills on the first.
No, I didn't never said the levels. I just said that it's
confused.
difficult to clean them. Like on the second level, it's impossible.
I know,
Like if
but-
I have them in the exterior, trying to
Okay.
keep the building clean and looking good.
For the record, please.
So can I continue with the couple questions I was asking? Because everybody's just kind of talking in a circle, and I just want to try to get some clarity here. The bottom of these stairs on this side are going to be closed in with some sort of, I mean, this porch, you're going to put lattice or something
Yes.
like that around it, so you're not going to,
Yes.
that's not going to be visible,
Correct.
right?
Get over here in the mic. Yes.
So, yeah, well, I'm drawing her out with the picture.
And I don't have glasses.
I mean, the reason I'm asking what I'm asking is just, I mean, I think that, is there a way, I mean, well, I know that you can order or you could make, which may be even better and more dynamic than what you already have there, beautiful wooden grills for some of those windows that are highly visible on the building, like right on the edge
Yeah.
of the street, right on the other side of the street. To, you know, I'm just looking for, you know, is that something that we
Up on the
have
Chestnut
for
Farm.
a solution that is a bridge between what we wanted, what was approved, what didn't happen? We could sit here for hours pointing fingers at Mark or them or the builder or anybody, but that's not gonna, you know. And do any of the windows currently have mullions on the grills on the outside?
Not the
No.
windows.
None of them. But
Every
they
window's
all
new.
have,
Every window's new.
but every one of them has a internal finial in the glass.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because we don't care about the
I'm
inside.
worried that if you were to put them on the outside, will that impede, like, I mean, we could build something and stick it up there, but like, when opening the windows, is it gonna?
No, they would be on the windows
it's-
anyhow. I
No,
mean,
the frame
pro-
extends past the glass. But
Yeah.
they have those pop-in mullions that you,
We called, I mean, I did call, and I don't think, it's not a matter of popping them in, because you have to have a place to pop them in, they'd have to be attached.
Right, which that's the other thing is that if you go to the window factory when they're making those windows, all of those mullions on the outside of any modern window is only stuck on with an adhesive.
Right, that's what we have to
Period.
do with our house.
They're not, I mean, you can go and spend the $2,000 a window for a true divided light, not a simulated divided light, but hardly anybody puts those in these days because they're prohibitively expensive. So, I mean, I think, my feeling is that I don't think that this body can give a definitive answer tonight, because I think that there's gotta be some more due diligence by the applicant to see, is there a way to put something that enhances at least some of these windows to look more historically correct. I mean, it is a requirement of this body that any windows installed in the town of Lewis Historic District these days have full simulated divided light. Not just your property, not just Second Street, not just commercial, but any building in the historic district. And there's a difference. And the reason for that is, and I hear you, that there might be some places adjacent to that don't have it, but they're either old or they were done before this body existed. That's the problem. I mean, can we?
Would that be your motion?
Well, that's a long motion, but my
no, no, we had to get a shorter one than that.
At this point, I don't know what I'm voting on.
Well, my motion, okay, I'll.
Let me just see if I can, they have internal mullins,
I understand.
in the window. Okay, and they were requesting on the second floor not to have to put them on the outside. But on the first floor,
Yes.
what about the first floor?
First floor, we'll put them on there.
You put them on.
Yep.
So at least from the street level, it will look like true divided lights.
Okay.
We can
But
do that.
are these windows on one side of your building? I don't know. Are they on the front, the
first
back,
floor,
the other
the first
side of the
floor.
front?
Can I have the elevations back, please?
It's on 3rd Street and Chestnut, and the sides of the windows are located.
They're on Third and Chestnut, the windows are located
Okay.
for the first floor.
So it would be the stair side, right?
Correct.
The stair side and the front.
The front is just the vestibule. They're already there, because we did build that.
Okay.
We have built, this is all built by Oldwood
Okay.
already, and that does have it.
Okay. And so this is the side that they would not do any?
Correct. That's correct.
Top
That's the
or
neighborly
bottom?
side that you wouldn't see it.
Okay, and the back side doesn't matter? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's the neighborly side that you will not see.
Neighborly side.
Okay, so we're talking, the front's already done, that's true divided. So really,
Where the steps are.
Street side.
the,
Chestnut Street side.
where the
So
stair
we're
is.
talking about the right side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, the right side, the right side. And you don't want to do them on the second floor there either?
I prefer not to, one for accessibility and cleaning and safety and, just
Other
trying-
than the one that is immediately over top of the other
We
one.
could do that,
Because you're gonna
yes.
really
I don't
notice
mind
that is
Because
not
that
done.
would, you would see, they would be directly above each other.
Yeah.
We're talking about this one?
Yes.
I'm not sure that's even the right one, but anyway, I know there was a motion to make some modifications to the windows, but, yeah. Okay.
What's the motion?
I was just discussing. I was only having discussion. There
Let's
was-
have some kind of motion. The longer this goes on, the more I get confused. So-
Okay,
And
okay, I'll attempt to make a motion. Because this structure is within the historic district, it is non-contributing. It has, up until this point, used proposed materials that are consistent with the ordinance and are previously approved by this body. And we have a challenge with windows that do not meet the current ordinance. My motion is to approve application of exterior mullions, be they manufactured by Anderson or manufactured by the client that don't fall off, all deference to the client, of course, that allow the historic nature as required in the original approval on all of the ground floor windows and the two windows that are over top of each other on the Chestnut Street side of the property.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Well,
Discussion?
Oh, discussion?
More discussion?
I'm sorry.
all right. In layman's terms, we're talking about whether the grills that are on the windows are whether they're inside the glass or outside. That's
No.
not the issue.
That's not the issue. Currently, all the windows have grills in between the two
windows,
glass,
yeah.
which
Okay.
was not approved.
Like a real window,
No,
a historic window would.
no,
No?
no.
Julian, can you bring up the photo that showed that again? It's like in between the panes of glass.
So if you watch the window on either side, you'd never touch that grill.
It's inside.
It's inside.
It's inside
Right.
the two panes.
Right, okay,
That's
yeah,
where it
that
is
was
now.
my question.
Okay.
It's inside the two layers of glass,
And that's what you have,
Correct.
which was not approved.
which was not approved.
Okay.
We approved,
The true.
Exterior.
The exterior
Where the
mullions.
mullions are inside and outside.
oh, really?
Well, that's the
Okay,
standard, that's what we
yeah.
always approve.
Historic.
Okay, now, what the motion is, to allow them, we won't require them to take all their windows out,
Right.
but they attach outside grills
Uh-huh.
here and here, right?
Chestnut
Okay.
side,
Here
yes,
and here.
yes.
And then all of the first floor,
Okay,
and that's it, because the front is already
On the
been
other
built.
side?
right.
Well-
And you all don't have a problem with that?
No, we're okay.
We don't, if you guys say we have to do it, we'll do it. We're hoping that we wouldn't have to, but
This is a narrow,
fine.
It's better than having to do the top where it's very inaccessible and hard to get to and not safe and hard to clean.
And it's out of the way.
And it's out of the way.
So-
And you don't see it as much.
And this is the side that's the neighbor side that's like just a narrow,
Correct, and you will, that's like where the fence is.
yeah, that's where the fence
So
is.
I just want clarification. Are the mullions and the grills going on the interior side? Because,
No,
okay,
exterior.
well,
They're going to apply additional mullions to the exterior of the windows that I proposed.
no, but I'm talking about the neighbor side for where those,
first level.
okay.
No,
No, on the neighbor side, none.
That, because that's not in your motion, so that's what I wanted the clarification for, is that it's not on the neighbor, it's the Third Street and the Chestnut Street side.
Right, because none of those
Okay.
windows on the
No,
neighbor's
it's not
side,
the-
when they're finished with construction, will be visible by anybody,
Right.
other than, you know, if you're.
I know that, but I just wanted the clarification for the motion, because my
Yeah.
are
motion
you
says.
going to put them up on this window too? The Third Street.
And now I'm
This
glad
is
you
the
said
Third
that
Street.
because I thought we were.
This one too,
Way
We
around.
could,
because this is very visible. This is a
yes, we
street,
could
it
do
is an
that.
important
Yes,
streetscape.
Okay.
that's okay,
So it's a
That's fine.
Third Street
yes.
and
we
the
could do that.
Chestnut.
So is that a friendly, that would be a friendly amendment
Amendment
to the motion?
Third
Friendly
Street,
amendment.
Third Street
Okay,
and,
you approve of the
So
friendly
it's
amendment?
basically Third Street and Chestnut Street.
And Joe, you
And-
seconded that motion, so do you approve the friendly amendment?
No,
You did.
Bill did.
Do you approve
I
it?
second that.
Do you approve the friendly amendment?
I do. I
Okay,
do.
there you go.
yes, you understand
Could we
that-
get a drawing that has
This,
everything
understand.
accurate and not pointing and saying, well, this is this and this is this?
Not tonight.
Not
Not
tonight.
tonight, no, but next month, because I don't want to vote on something that is not so well,
This window, that window gets grills popped in from the outside.
and so that's going to be listed in the motion?
Yes,
It's
it
already in the
is,
motion.
Third Street, this is Third Street. These are already built, and
Okay.
they're true. And then this is the Chestnut Street side, and they're going to do the whole first floor,
Confused.
and I think this, the
And
window,
the one above it, yes.
and the one above it.
Correct.
Because it's visible. And that's what that's the motion, and that's what we're voting on.
And
We
the
call the
motion-
vote.
And the motion,
The
Person who
motion
made the motion is asking to call the vote.
is for them to supply external muttons
okay,
that are.
but the motion doesn't say which windows.
Yes, it does.
said
I've
first-
described
it said
every one
first
of them
floor,
in the motion.
First floor
And I agreed to
and the
the
one
second
above
one.
it, on the corner,
And the
Third Street.
Friendly amendment to
And
the
this
motion
one.
was from Barbara about the
Correct.
front window on top, on Third.
Okay, as
So,
long
yeah,
as it's
yeah.
understood which windows we are talking
Right.
about.
Right.
And I think we should have, Janelle, we need to have plans in the file that identify those windows.
They will, when they come to get a permit to put those in, they will provide that.
Great.
Okay,
I'll be wearing my car.
okay. All right, so no more discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye, Michael. And I guess we also have to go one by one, right, Brian?
Yes, yes, Madam
Can
Chair.
you
roll
put
call
the-
vote would
thank
be
you.
appreciated.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Randy, you started.
Because this motion, as I, just give me a second here so I don't disappoint Brian. Because this application is complete, this property is within the historic district but non-contributing, and considering all of the conditions of the Secretary of the Department of Interior, and for the reasons stated in my motion, I vote to approve.
And I agree with the first commissioner's comments who made the motion. I agree with his comments and I approve.
And I concur with the other two, so I approve.
I vote to approve. I agree with all my distinguished colleagues, yes.
And I vote to approve.
Michael?
Yeah, because it's a non-contributing structure, it's in the historic district, and because I concur with my other commissioners, I vote to approve.
Okay. I also vote to approve adding exterior grills to the outside of the windows on the second floor of Third Street above the entrance door, and to the first floor windows on Chestnut, plus the second floor window closest to Third.
Okay,
So,
motion carries.
motion carried.
Are you guys done with us now?
That's all you had?
I think so.
We had asked about the stair components of.
Oh, yes,
I
yes, you
said in
did.
there about using the composite or the metal railing and post and baluster versus the wood, because it was never specified what wood, what stain. So I think I put it in there as one of the other,
It's on the, it's.
for the material use for the.
Is this in the application
I
tonight
believe-
before?
Yes, it was. I hate to say that to you.
Yes, it is. And my question goes back to it. You're a wood company. Why aren't you using wood stair
We
and
don't
wood?
want to use the pressure treated.
Why not?
Well, pressure treated does it, it looks terrible. I was listening.
Wait till it ages.
You know,
It looks like
I
sticks.
looked at
It ages really fast.
Yeah, and we don't want to have this beautiful building with an ugly
You
pressure
can't
treatment.
see the deck. You can't see
Oh,
the
no,
deck.
it's totally fully.
Oh, and the
it's all-
That's visible.
The entire side of Third Street.
Oh, it's the stair.
It's
It's
whole
the
stairway.
exterior stairwell.
Stairwell.
Okay, so
What are you asking to change?
They want to use composite material.
composite,
Wood, we can use wood, but we're going to, like everybody, wrap it with composite.
Not with the cheap stuff, either with the full composite, or there's also they have the metal toasting rail that you can use with the
I
baluster.
use metal in it.
Okay, that's okay. There is the full composite, not that cheap sleeve thing. One, it's more resistant. It doesn't look any different than, it actually looks, weathers better and looks better than staining.
it's not going to look like your old wood building, though. I mean, it just seems like, why wouldn't you want to continue all those old wood and stain it to look like the old wood? It's a wood building. And that's your
Are they
business.
talking metal now?
No, there's no metal allowed.
Wood with a composite cover.
No, but they want it all composite, the
Yeah.
stair treads
I know.
and.
Well, the stair tread,
And-
the composite material is from the existing building. So we
What?
just, the building had composite,
The
a
deck,
composite
it was the
deck
deck.
on, originally had composite
So,
on the deck.
but that wasn't in your application
No,
to use
I know that.
composite.
I'm saying that's what we want to use. That's what we want.
Barbara, what did we originally approve when we approved the project?
Wood,
That's what I thought.
yeah,
So
pretty
we'll
sure.
stick with wood. You guys like that wood, we'll.
Is there a design, as I recall, there was no, that was one of the things that was going to need to be approved finally with submission of final materials when Mark made the presentation, that it was approved as wood railings and encasement of that wood area or of the lower stairs, which that was switched around some too, right? The direction, the access.
It was on the wrong, yes.
But there was not, I mean, and you or Joe could look at this, I suppose, and clarify it. I think it was, they were supposed to submit what those railings were gonna be. I mean, and, you know, the profile, the style, because I'm pretty sure, I mean, very rarely do you see a drawing of Mark Redden's that has that level of detail on it. And it was something that, as I recall, I'm not saying not to do
So I think what we
wood.
could do is if they can submit something, because typically that could potentially be reviewed chair and staff. So if they provide the detailed information on the exact color and
Talking to you right
material
Okay.
to be used.
She's talking to you.
Oh, you're talking about
For the stairs, I'm talking to both of you, then submit that to us and we'll see if we'll send it to chair and staff and see how they feel. If not, then we'll see you back in April.
Okay.
Does,
I mean, we can
but is
keep
that
it in
comfortable
close-
with the commission?
Satisfy everybody here.
Not without direction from the whole commission.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. I'm asking if that's okay with the commission.
And also,
Because that's typically something that would be reviewed via chair and staff based on the material that you see, you know, stairs and other places. So that's what I'm just asking, is if that's something the commission is comfortable with.
Do we have a decision, do we have a consensus on the material that's being considered?
My opinion is wood.
We have a
That's what we
consensus
approved.
that it has to remain in a wood material, Madam Chair. However, what I was bringing up was the point that we don't have any profile style design that was approved when this application was originally done. So in the process of that submission and approval, which whether the architect made that clear to you guys or not, I pretty strongly recall that those drawings of Mark's did not have that detail, and that whole side was a pretty big deal, what it was gonna look like.
It was, but it was approved and it's been built. We were gonna
No,
replace
no,
it.
no, not the finish down below, but the railings and all,
Right,
there
correct.
there are no drawings of
Of
the
the
railings
railings
that
and
were
the-
going to go on there.
Right.
So that
as far
would,
as the
so the
treasure
point being,
risers
Barbara,
go,
that would typically be, it gets turned into the building official. If he or she doesn't feel comfortable with it, they contact you and say, you need to come and take a look at this. This is
No, well,
what they
it's
submitted.
not their job to approve the design submissions. You know,
Yeah.
that's our job.
That's right.
Yeah, so,
I'm really disappointed in this application because we wouldn't have had this long discussion if the details were on the drawing and we could look at them and say, oh, it's wood and it's this shape, or it's the buttons are in the glass, or the buttons are on the outside of the glass. All this information should have been on the drawings and submitted, and we wouldn't have had this long discussion.
yes, you're right. But now we're to the point that we're going to move on, and you're going to submit to Janelle, based on our comments, that there's a preference for wood on the stairs, railing, and decking.
There's an approval in place for wood. We're not changing it.
Okay, very good. So it's just the design profiles, and
And then we will forward it to chair and staff
Yes.
for a final decision.
yes, and also stain, if you're going to stain it to match
stain
the old
color.
wood. Okay. All right, so do we need a motion for that?
No, you have consensus.
Okay, are we good? Michael, are you good with that?
Yes, yep.
Okay. Brian, are you good, wherever you are? Okay, great.
I'm good.
Okay, you are free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we got a few more items. I have an update on the grants, unfinished business. We did get notification for our grants for 2021. They're running a little late. We'll be getting more information on the 2022 grants. This is through SHPO. And so I had to respond right away of our interest, which of course said, yes, we're interested. I also responded that we're also interested in any additional available funds that might come our way. So that was done. I don't have any update on D2, which is our ongoing discussion of the H Park ordinance for potential clarifications and additions.
Okay.
So what I do have is something I'm going to read.
Madam Chair, are we on new business? Is that where we are? Are we still
Yes,
on?
we
old
just,
business?
yes, Brian, sorry, we just finished unfinished business, D1 and D2, and now we're on new business.
Perfect. I would just like to just remind the commission just generally that we are limited to what we have in the agenda. If we go outside the scope of any document or what has been referenced in the agenda, there could be a FOIA violation, and we want to avoid that. So please just make sure that you narrow your comments to the topics that are on the agenda.
Well, the topic on the agenda is discussion and possible recommendations regarding ordinance 5-22, an ordinance to amend Article 4, use regulations, Article 6, Historic Preservation Architectural Review Commission, and Article 16, definitions of Chapter 197 zoning of the municipal code of the City of Lewis, Delaware, by amending sections 197-45, 197-57, and 197-106 relating to museums and museum exhibitions. This is on our agenda because of last month's city council meeting when Anne Marie made a statement that H Park would have an opportunity to make comments or discuss this at their meeting. So that is my understanding of what we're able to do. Are you good with that, Brian?
It's on your agenda, and that is correct. That is my understanding.
Okay.
Can you repeat that, please?
You want me to read the agenda?
No, I want you to repeat what you just said.
That
Brian is saying that.
So on the 14th of February, when Mayor and Council met, this was proposed. And Mayor and Council didn't, there were a couple of questions, a couple of council members had questions. But such as, was H Park involved in this? The answer was no. We consulted no. And so Anne Marie said, well, they'll have a chance to make comments or discuss it because they'll be meeting before the hearing on Monday. That's what she said, and that's why it's on. So I spent a lot of time going back and putting together some things that led up to this. But I just want to make some what I think are very important.
See who else is watching this hearing?
Can you bring up the participants, please?
Thank you. So I'm just going to start out, because I think it's important, for people to understand H Park's responsibilities, et cetera. So, number one, as a first point of order, I want to make a very important statement. H Park takes its responsibility in reviewing all applications very, very seriously per the Secretary of Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties and the Historic Properties standards, and criteria outlined in the Lewis City Code 197-59A criteria, which states, in reviewing the plans of any construction, change, or demolition, H Park shall give consideration to a number of factors, including Code 197-59A9, which states, a proposed new structure or any alteration to an existing structure or historic property shall conform to the city code. However, it is the intent of the H Park, consistent with its purpose, 197-56A, to assist in preserving the historic character and historic fabric of the city of Lewis, to work in conjunction with applicants to arrive at the most desirable and appropriate outcome of their application, to maintain harmony with the streetscape. To this end, H Park may focus on height, rhythm, scale, and proportion as issues that will be asked to consider and, when appropriate, to alter their plan and/or design. That's kind of the basis of how we function. Now let's take a minute to review the past events that have brought us to this place. First, the net reel is a very important part of Lewis history, the maritime history, the black history, the white history, and the Menhaden history. The Canal Front Park has a wonderful collection of significant Lewis maritime history items. The net reel had been located between the overfalls and the life-saving station and is still welcome back to that location.
Madam Chair, may I, I'm not meaning to interrupt you because I know you're on you have some information that you would like to convey, but the agenda topic is discussion and possible action in relation to the ordinance. And so I think that I understand that the ordinance, the draft ordinance, is attached to the packet, and I think that it would be more appropriate to make sure that we are focusing on any comments and recommendations in relation to the draft ordinance.
The draft ordinance does talk about the net reel.
Keep going.
Okay. Wherever. Nearby is the Monomoy lifeboat and the net house. Another important and positive black story, which is being overlooked, is that a very successful black boat builder, which was in the area of what is now the Canal Front Park. As stated in my opening comments, H Park follows the Secretary of Interior standards, which state that location is an important part of telling the historic story. And when a structure is moved, it loses its historical significance. The net reel was on the edge of the canal, replicating its fishing pier location, which no longer exists. Moving it into a very historic residential community does not support the preservation of the Lewis residential community or maritime history, including black history. Next, LHS installed the net reel on LH property in the historic district without a City of Lewis building permit or H Park approval. An LHS application was presented after the fact at the H Park September 1st, 2020 meeting. The commission voted to deny the request because this location didn't follow the guidelines. It is also not compatible with LHS's wonderful collection of very historic homes and structures, most date between 1700 and 1800. On November 18th, 2020, Robin Davis wrote to LHS notifying that they needed to move the net reel. At least 3 times in an LHS agenda appeared on City Council's monthly agenda. H Park was not notified or consulted. Each time, as H Park Chair, I called each City Council person and expressed my surprise and concerns.
Madam Chair, I am not seeing that in the proposed ordinance that is at page 111 and 115 of the packet. I see the proposed ordinance and zoning changes, but I don't see anything on the the history behind what has prompted this ordinance. I just don't see it.
If I may, I think that to understand the ordinance, we need to understand, or why the ordinance has even been proposed, we have to understand step by step about how we got here.
That's fair, Commissioner Thomason. I just want to make sure that we're staying in the lines of FOIA. That is where I'm at right now.
I understand.
All right, thank you. Each time, as H Park Chair, I called each council person and expressed my surprise and concerns. In one agenda item, LHS said the net reel was an artifact and not reviewable by H Park. City Council referred this back to H Park. Another LHS request on City Council's agenda claimed LHS was in a cultural zone and should not be reviewed by H Park, although St. Peter's and other historic locations are also labeled as cultural zone, and H Park has always reviewed St. Peter's project. That time, City Council referred LHS to the Board of Adjustment, where H Park decision was upheld. Never has LHS challenged H Park's decision. Next. This time, Mayor and City Council has taken a different approach and written several documents that basically are another way to override H Park's decision. It will allow the net reel to stay and limit H Park's future review process of LHS in a very complicated way. This is in contrast to H Park's guidelines, which have always been written to be helpful, easy to apply, and user-friendly. The H Park commissioners and the public can't help but wonder why the mayor and city council have chosen not to support the city's own commission, the commission that is charged with preserving the historic character and the historic fabric of Lewis. Preservation in Lewis is the foundation that draws tourism, fuels real estate, supports our many businesses, and it can all go south in a nanosecond. Balancing the regulations and individual needs and wants is always challenging, but writing an ordinance to satisfy one group when everyone else abides by the regulation just doesn't seem fair, does it? I've been told it is legal for mayor and council to do this, but is it right? Does it serve all the people of Lewis or just one organization's project? And in the future, will this help attract qualified people to volunteer for H Park or any other part of the city? Unquestionably, this has been a controversial, divisive matter, but it neither heals the division nor mends the divisiveness if one property owner is rewarded for evading the law and granted special rights when so many others have complied and will be expected to comply with H Park requirements in one form or another. I think that's very important. I'm going to say it again. Unquestionably, this has been a controversial, divisive matter, but it neither heals the division nor mends the divisiveness if one property owner is rewarded for evading the law and granted special rights when so many others have complied and will be expected to comply with H Park requirements in one form or another. At this point, I'm going to ask if any or each of the commissioners want to make a comment, and if you want to support the proposed item from mayor and council, you can also have the option to do that too. But I do want to have everybody the opportunity to, if they want to, to add anything, say anything, or concur.
Well, I'll go ahead, Brian.
Sorry, Commissioner Thomason. Again, just for the comments, please make sure that you keep them within the lines of what is contained on the agenda item.
Understood. I am extremely disappointed at mayor and council for moving forward with this ordinance without the input from the H Park commissioners. I also feel that allowing one individual or one organization to be exempt from the historic district when all the others, including a lot of properties whose applications have been denied, it's unbalanced, it's unfair, and now my opinion of the government of City of Lewis is not transparent, that this was all done behind closed doors, whatever, and I am very, very much opposed to these ordinance changes.
Thank you. Michael, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, no, I basically concur with the following statement in summary, and feel that it really does give unfair advantage to a select group within the city. And I'm just very disappointed that this is the path that has been chosen.
Thank you. Randy, do you want to say anything?
In a moment, I'm not.
Okay.
Not prepared. to
Bill,
say.
did you want to say something?
Yes, I come from this town. This is my boyhood town. I've always been involved with government in the town in one way or another because I love the town so much. I don't recall, and I'm getting old, I don't recall the city ever in the middle of the stream when H Park, in this case, H Park made their decision unanimously. Then it went before another commission appointed by the city, the BOA, and they backed us up 3-1, that the town would then go in and change the ordinance in the middle of the stream. And now I've seen it happen after the decision's made and it's followed its course, that later they go back and say, I think we need to make a change here. But I've never seen it after the decisions have been made that they stick their fingers in the middle of the process and change ordinances. And the other appalling thing is that I can't believe that we weren't consulted. It's like our expertise is just ignored in this process. And I think our input has been very, very, very contributing to this town, particularly in the area of preservation. And I think our input is valuable to the town and to the council. And to ignore us it just floors me. Anyway, I totally concur with all your comments. I think they're all factual and they're on target. And I agree. I think we should submit your submission.
Bill, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm also very upset with all that has gone before us. I think of the amount of time and energy and education and knowledge that we invest in this historic process here in Lewis, and I don't know why we weren't included in the discussion, because we have a lot to contribute. I mean, I just don't know. I agree with everything that just has been said right now before me, and I hope we get a chance to comment. I mean, it takes our judgment and authority and vote out of the picture. I have been involved in architectural review boards and zoning boards over the 35 years before moving here. Better be careful, because when a group doesn't have any anything safeguarding the historic or any part of what happens in the town, it can be dangerous. Going back in time, and not in Lewis, but I was part of denying McDonald's franchise putting up their golden arch in the middle of a Victorian street. And the reason we won the case and they were denied was because we were backed by the town board, where I was part of the architectural review board. There are lots of things I can think of that can be displayed in the historic campus, like a sign that's been up in like the sign in Rehoboth, the Dolly sign. There might be a sign that somebody thinks ought to be in the historic park. There are other things, barbershop poles with the revolving colors lit at night. I would hope that all of this is worked out and and the efforts of all of us are not just taken for granted.
Okay, Joe?
No comments.
Okay. Joe is here from the Planning Commission, and although he votes, he is not always maybe as comfortable with this subject as the planning. So he has done no comment because of where he comes from. So, Randy, are you ready to speak? No?
So, I mean, this is a difficult subject for me. I mean, I don't know if you guys recall the level of emotion that I exhibited at the original meeting when this issue all began. But I personally have 57, almost 58 years of roots in this community. And my family has been in the town of Lewis since 1720 and in this county since 1668. And my wife will tell you that she has never seen me so injured or appalled at my hometown and the behavior of or by the people within this community since this issue began. And she and I have been together for 23 of those 57 years. Lewis has changed. And this issue has changed it in a way that is not compatible to the history that I grew up with or that my father
Take a minute.
or my grandmother spoke to me about all of my life growing up. The plight of white and black has been co-opted throughout this process into a different narrative than anybody in my family is aware of. And I understand that I come from a place of white privilege. I don't deny it. But I also have an experience of growing up in this community that is not what this issue has become. It has torn the fabric of this community apart, and now we are faced with a situation where, in my opinion, there is a gross negligence of good government going on to try to heal a divisive issue that cannot be healed by poor governance. The simple fact that every member of this commission has been sidelined through this process, in my opinion, by every person on the commission, and quite frankly, ridiculed by some who have co-opted this issue, in my judgment, for their own political gain. And it will continue to tear the fabric of this community apart until the honest truth, which is written here and has been not discussed in this community, and I've talked to several commission members over the course of the last God knows how many months this has been going on, and one of the things that I have suggested is that we actually impanel a group of people to figure out what to do with this, to not just let the real sit where it is, but to heal the black community, to heal the white community, to heal the preservationists, to heal the people who have been injured on this panel. But that's not the course of action that's been taken in this community. I'm busy. I have a lot of things to do. I shot my mouth off for years about preservation in this community. I said this body doesn't go far enough. I said there's important pieces of property that should be preserved more than they are. That's how I got here. But I won't waste my time here if this is the way it's going to go.
Okay. I'm going to read a statement, and because I think it's what I've just heard from everybody. The statement, and you can correct me, or you can add something to it. The last statement is, the H Park Commissioners do not support this action by Mayor and Council and are greatly concerned that it will set a negative precedent. I was going to keep it short, but if anybody wants to add something to it?
Well, I agree with that statement wholeheartedly, and again, want to state how disappointed I am in our mayor and council that this action is moving forward.
Thank you. You want to add anything? No? No.
This is not open for public.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I agree with you with your closing statement, but I just want to add one other thing.
I just wanted you to get a little closer to the mic. I wanted you to get closer to the mic so I can hear you. Yeah.
You know, I chaired the meeting when you...
Yes, for that.
I had no idea that there was any racial issue at all, and I didn't know it until I read it in the newspaper, because I don't live in Lewis. I'm the one person who has been appointed by the council to be on this board. I go back years, early 60s, when I was in college. And I supported Dr. King, and I went to his rallies, and I sang, "We Shall Overcome." I am not the person that the paper reported was conducting a meeting that was racially, had racial overtones. I am not that person.
Thank you, Phil. Unless somebody else has some more they want to talk about, I think we've concluded our work here.
Is there a vote, Madam Chair?
We weren't allowed to take a vote. We were only allowed to make comments.
No, it's actually on the agenda for possible action, so if you would like to make a recommendation.
No, my agenda was possible action, but the agenda that appeared here, my agenda was rewritten. It says discussion and possible recommendations.
Right, because it's an ordinance, it's always a recommendation to mayor and council. So if you want to make a recommendation to mayor and council that they scrap the ordinance, that is so your recommendation to mayor and council. You don't actually approve the ordinance because that always falls to mayor and council, but you do have the ability to make a recommendation of changes and any type of suggestions, or just to start over and include the commission in anything, based on what I'm hearing. So that is an option you have this evening.
I make a motion that the minutes of this meeting be forwarded to every member of mayor and council, and that they be requested to listen to the entire minutes of this portion of the minutes.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I think we've just been given permission, I guess, or clarification, that we can vote and make a recommendation back to mayor and council, since we all...
In relation to the ordinance, correct, yes. In relation to the
ordinance.
Ordinance, that's an action item.
E1.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
E1. So,
If I,
yes, yes.
I would like to
Oh, you already got it.
make the motion that we make the recommendation to mayor and council that they not approve these ordinance changes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Michael?
I'd like to abstain.
Aye.
Okay,
One abstention.
one abstention. All right. Do you need anything else, Brian? No? Okay.
Now, this is If this agenda item's done, we move on to the next one.
That's it?
Sharon
Oh,
said.
that's Sharon staff. Okay.
I just for Mr. Burton's motion, just please be aware that typically the minutes will not be ready until potentially after mayor and council do take action. I will let you know, 4 out of the 5 have been listening to this meeting.
Understood.
So,
Who hasn't?
Mr. Saliba, and I believe he had work tonight.
Okay. I see that Carolyn left early.
She may have had something else to do, or she might actually,
Be listening?
correct. Sometimes if you turn off your camera, then you're just not shown.
Okay. Okay, so chair and staff. Now, I have to find my chair and staff.
So for everybody's reference, this is Joe Pembroke. He is one of our assistant building officials. He's going to be tag teaming with me on H Park, so he's going to be doing a lot of the chair and staff. So he is here tonight to go over the chair and staff from last month.
Is he getting overtime, I hope?
He is.
Oh, cool.
No.
Thank you, guys.
Sir, I'm just curious, who are you?
I'm Frank Powell. I live at 324 Pilot Town Road. I'm an interested citizen.
Oh, okay. You were taking lots of notes. I didn't know if you were a reporter or...
No. I'm writing testimony for the hearing on Monday, and I wanted to hear what you folks had to say about it.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here for the hearing, so I'll submit it to the council members.
Okay. Great. All right.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, have a good evening.
So Joe's gonna be taking over chair and staff. He will be keeping me in the loop because we're gonna tag team this. But he's gonna be the lead on those. And then he's gonna go over what happened last month.
Okay.
Hello again. Our first one's going to be Joseph Vetter, 119 McPhee Street, tax back number 335-8.11-179.
You really don't have to read all that.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
You can just, give us any, if there's...
Okay,
Inside.
119 McPhee Street, convert existing rear screen porch into a Four Seasons room. Charles Casey, 30 Ship Carpenter Square, install 6-foot wood fence and front yard setback. Steve Evans, 142 Kings Highway, install approved window on a previous approved shed from H Park. Mark Coyle, 112 Franklin Avenue, house was lifted for foundation repair, same material is going to be used on the foundation that was approved with the brick. Clay and Susan Monroe, remodel and put an addition in the rear of the home. And Tom Little of the Lewis Oyster House, 108 Second Street, approved their paint and trim, awaiting the light fixtures as we had, and that's it.
And Joe, that second one there, actually, the wooden fence is on the sides.
Yes, sir, yes, we just call it the front because that's, but, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that caught me too, but it does say front side.
Yes.
It's really just side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy working with you. We've had
Yes, I
several back
appreciate
and
it, thank you,
forth.
yes, so far, yes, we
Yeah.
have. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I have nothing else. Does anybody else have anything else?
Move to adjourn.
Okay, second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, everybody. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
If I could
Have a
just
good night.
request for you earlier, Randy, about 324 Savannah, about going back and forth with Mr. Fletcher.
No, that actually is missing out of the revised survey, but we did provide everything to him that we had.
Okay,
I'm
'cause I
sorry.
would say all the
Sorry.
information I had in the book that I actually went to him, and I actually had to go above and
You
beyond
can
to see
stop.
what else I can find besides what we had. And I found, like I said, it was, ended up being that contributed structure back from 1930, so I just want to let you know that. So I've had whatever we had info, I'd like to go ahead and try to go and above and beyond and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. I wasn't looking to be accused